There are a few topics in the deer world that make grown men clench so hard they could turn cheap bourbon into a diamond. CWD, deer farms, high fence, giant antlers, and the National Deer Association, which some hunters defend like it's grandma, Jesus, or Jesus, depending on where you live, and their favorite OnlyFans account wrapped in a camo hoodie. So today, we're kicking the door in. Rack Junkies is in the house. The filter is dead. The bar is open. So roll that intro.
Welcome to Saltlick Worldwide Podcast, your ultimate destination for hunting, fishing, conservation, and gear. From international hotspots to the backwoods of America, we bring you the real stories, raw opinions, and the conversations others won't have. Buckle up. The adventure starts now.
That was fair.
Yeah, so I didn't even
Fair.
fucking look that up the first time or anything. That wasn't.
Doesn't even bother me that you say mean things about me.
Yeah. So guys, welcome to the podcast, and I apologize, I did not introduce you, but we're going to get to that in just a second. So you guys came down from Ohio, appreciate it. Let's start off with, if you guys would, just take a second, introduce yourself for those people that don't know who Rack Junkies is, that must be living in a cardboard box behind a dumpster somewhere, but tell us about yourselves, how you guys got started, kind of what your gig is, and then we'll move in through there.
Well, I'm Steven Ziegler. I run Rack Junkies, and we basically got started about 10 years ago. It was just making YouTube videos, kind of like you guys are doing, and it started out as something small, kept growing. We threw a raccoon out of a army tank. My grandma shot a deer at 80 years old, started a blog, completely fell apart after COVID. Then or probably shouldn't say COVID on YouTube. I don't believe that word. But basically grew these huge social media pages, obsessed over hunting, obsessed over everything, whether it's, the history of hunting, the science of hunting, every aspect of hunting that I could dive into. I've read books on, listened to podcasts on, talked to anybody I can talk to. And all of that knowledge kind of came together. We started writing again on Rack Junkies on Facebook last year, right around September, October, and it just exploded. We went from about 60 million, 80 million views a month to right around 300 million views a month. And so
I'd be happy with 60 million views a month, by the way.
Yeah, and it's good. It's fun. It's what I love doing. I love to hunt. I love to read. I love to read research. I'm kind of a nerd that way, and it's kind of blown up into this thing over the last 6 months that it's hard to believe that it's gotten this big, from rabbit hunting YouTubers to hunting with my grandma to, everybody in the outdoor industry. When we walk around shows, people are like yelling at me like, "Rack Junkies, is that you?" And you're like, "How do you know me?" And they're like, "Well, I read all your stuff. I see you on Facebook all the time." It's very surreal that this happened so quick. I know I've heard this on podcasts. I'm sure you guys have too, where guys are like, "Oh, I worked hard for 10 years to overnight, just everybody knows me now." And that's what's happened with Rack Junkies especially. And so that's kind of where we come from. Just Ohio guys. Grew up hunting with my grandpa. My grandma taught me how to shoot. She taught 4-H shooting safety, and that's how I learned how to shoot. It was from, grandma. And listen, grandma passed away 3 years ago, but nobody was going to rob grandma because she had a Glock.
To grandma.
Yes, to grandma. Hey, that's right. Heck yeah, man. She's awesome, and she was just one of those people in the outdoor industry that didn't get talked about. She's not like a Jim Shockey or Steve Rennell, not these big names, but she really helped a lot of people get into hunting, and recruitment's a huge problem for hunting right now. And, there's a lot of unsung heroes in the hunting industry that nobody knows about. And I guess we're going to get into this later, but highlighting some of those people is what I really, really enjoy doing.
We're not going to talk about that at all.
Well, we got some other more controversial stuff, but I like to focus on good stuff too. I'm kind of known right now because of the National Deer Association. I think they're a con artist organization. I really do. I can't say enough bad things about them. We can talk about them in name. I have all the receipts. Same thing with not every game agency, but a lot of game agencies are pretty bad. But there's a lot of good in the hunting industry. And so I think that most of my posts actually highlight that. It's just I'm kind of known for the controversial stuff. But that's social media for you. You know?
Right, that's what gets attention.
It does. It definitely does.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and you're not here by yourself. So who we got over here?
Oh, my name is Aaron Futrell, and I run the Sportsman's Party. Me and Steven have been business partners and cousins. Well, we've been cousins for all our lives. But we've been business partners since like 2015 when we started doing hunting blogs. I threw the raccoon out of the tank, and if you would look up raccoon stuck in tank, you will see me because that is the #1 hit on Google if that happens. So you will see one of our big starters of how we got involved in
Link in the description, folks.
Yeah,
Link in the description.
It's like mega viral back then, and I even made a shirt that said "World Raccoon Tossing Champion."
In
and
fact,
since then,
I may overlay it right now instead.
you should.
What did you do, little guy?
Little fat ass.
Come on. You gotta rescue this guy out of the tank. Come on.
Wow, he's stuck.
He's stuck. Come on. You got any like butter we can put around him?
Mortar oil. He's a little fatty, and he's pissed that I'm touching him.
Oh yeah, he ain't happy. Maybe you should try and push him.
Here's his balls.
The other thing would be to maybe push him back in.
Oh my gosh.
You may have to try and push him back in so that he maybe get out, because there's a bigger hole in the bottom.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, because we had one stuck in there before,
I
but
didn't know there was a hole in there.
yeah, we had another coon, but you want me to give it a try?
I can get a dish soap.
You want to give it a shot, Aaron?
Yeah.
Oh, he's pissed. There we go.
He started,
Yep.
and I'm gonna fling him that way. That hole's tiny that he was stuck in. That's ridiculous.
Because I have since tossed 4 other raccoons. So I have some weird connection with raccoons and rescuing from dumpsters and army tanks and other weird places they get stuck. So it's kind of fun, but that's how we got launched into Facebook stardom for the first time. That was my first 15 minutes of fame, where, you know, me in an army uniform pulling a raccoon out of the display tank at my National Guard armory. And we posted it on our hunting channel, and then got we had 6,000 people that liked hunting that followed us, and then exploded to 30,000 people that liked raccoons overnight. And they didn't appreciate the next video that appeared after their feed, because Facebook automatically started playing videos, which was me butchering a turtle. So we got a whole bunch of people loving this video, and then seeing me butcher a turtle, and this turtle heart just beating because a turtle heart will stay alive 17 hours after you butcher a turtle.
Is that video still up?
Yes.
I'm going to overlay it right now, too.
This turtle has been dead for 4 hours and his heart is still beating.
And
never
it
seen
just has
that.
me saying I killed this turtle, going, his heart is still beating. You just see this beating heart of this turtle. And this came right after me rescuing this raccoon. So I'm like, yeah, we got a lot of hate from that. So and that video ended up with 1 million or so views, just because it just replayed right after this raccoon video. And there were so many negative comments on it. It was hilarious.
So many cat ladies were so mad at us. It was awesome. We loved it.
Yeah, it was fun. So that was our first foray into the Facebook algorithm. Was if you get a viral video, you get a lot of followers and you can become famous. So, and that's kind of before us. That kind of just made us who we are. That's kind of just gave us the idea of hey, we could just do this. We could just start on Facebook and, start posting stuff and just be consistent with us and make a name for ourselves. And that's what we've been doing since 2015, is just consistently posting, writing, posting videos, posting memes. I think I might be responsible for like a third of all the hunting memes on Facebook right now. If you see a hunting meme, I could probably point it out. Yeah, that one's mine. And most of them, you don't even realize it. It's like I made up so many Facebook memes. It's ridiculous.
I'll tell you what, this new AI stuff is like meme gold.
Yeah, I don't make the AI memes, but like the old school memes that used to happen, like I'd say a third of the ones in the hunting community I probably made. And then that have been passed around and have gone viral, I probably made them.
So tell us a little bit. So you guys kind of, I'm going to say started off by chance a little bit, but this has turned into a serious social media platform. And I'd go as far to say almost a news outlet in that what you guys report, like you deep dive this shit. You're not just winging shit off the cuff. I mean, you spend weeks and months sometimes diving into this stuff and doing public records requests and everything else. I mean, how did that come to be from the raccoon in the dumpster and the turtle heart to where it is now?
So part of it is that I got involved into the political world in Ohio a bit with some state reps. I got mad because of Facebook taking away one of my bonuses on a page that they no longer recommended. I found a state rep, Heidi Workman, and she's best state rep in the country. She's the best. I love her. She's great. And I did a Doge program in Ohio. This is part of it. Why I started in the public records stuff specifically. And I dove into the Ohio budget. She was, getting ready to approve the budget, and I found money going to the Pink Tutu Project. There's $50,000 to the Columbus Gay Men's Choir. Gay and Lesbian Quartet gets money. The Washboard Society or something like that's getting money. Like I find all this stuff in the budget, and I go, I call Aaron up the office. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna believe what I found. We're going through this, and I learned how to use like AI to put the budget in, and then I would just like, hey, find me the stupidest thing you can possibly find. I started uncovering these things. Well, the problem is that you can't actually find the real hard data because they have it covered up. They're supposed to report it, but they don't. And you go in and you have to file public records requests. So that's how I learned how to do that. Now, that was at the beginning of 2025. And then I really deep dived into the National Deer Association and CWD towards the end of 2025, back in like November. So when we started writing about October again, we used to have the blog. We do a couple million people a month to the website, and that kind of all went away. When we started writing again in September, October time, I went back and just started writing one post on CWD. It was CWD versus EHD. And anybody listening to this, I guarantee you, they're going to say, oh, it makes people so mad when I put those two together, because everybody that hunts, like just the average dude, not the game agencies, none of them, the average guy looks at EHD and goes, that's a problem. And then they look at CWD and they go, that doesn't really seem like a problem. And in November, I wrote a post, and immediately it got 15 million views. It was crazy. I was like, wait, how in the world does a post just jump to 15 million views when I put a sick deer with EHD and then a CWD deer, and I just write 2 paragraphs on it? And I kind of found that there's a niche here where you can just write in small chunks in series and get people to pay attention. But there's a couple tricks to it. One is you have to be accurate. The other is you have to have really good information that people don't have. And the other one is you have to be entertaining. If you're missing one of those 3, you're just not going to be like, nobody cares. So I had fun with it. I was accurate, and I had a bunch of information nobody knew about. And the way I got that information was through public records requests. Now, when I first started writing about CWD, which is what most people know me for right now, it was completely on accident. I just knew something was off. I posted it, 15 million views, like I said. And then I took a step back. I immediately was like, okay, I need to be like really, really knowledgeable about this if I'm going to speak on it, because people are already messaging me, calling me, emailing me saying, hey, we know this is wrong too. Keep up the good work. And I'm like, man, I'm just not an expert on this stuff. So I took a month and a half without writing about it and just reading every study I could find. And when I was reading those studies, I realized that there were some organizations that were pushing these studies. And the National Deer Association was one of them. I start going down that rabbit trail a little bit, and I realized I file some public records requests on where money's going. Follow the money. You hear people say that all the time, follow the money, but nobody ever really follows the money. So I follow the money, and I find that the Missouri Department of Conservation is writing checks to the National Deer Association. And I go, why? What's this for? So I file the public records. I get the actual contracts that are associated with these, with all that money. And basically what the Missouri Department of Conservation does is they give $128,000 a year, and the Missouri Department of Conservation sends 2 employees over to the National Deer Association to be deer. What was it? It was deer outreach specialists. That's what it was. It was deer outreach specialists, and they're paying these kids $60,000 a year to go around and push their policies. So, obviously waste, fraud, and abuse is all in the media. This isn't fraud per se because it's not illegal what they're doing. But these government agencies will give money to NGOs, and then they will say, hey, look, this is all in the contract. I've posted all this stuff. It's all public now because I've put it out there. In the contract, the Missouri Department of Conservation, Jason Sumners, who I interviewed at the SEI show where you were at, it says that they're responsible for their pay, for what their job is, for their training, for what they do, for where they go. Well, that's just an employee. So why are you funneling the money through the National Deer Association? It's because if the public knew that they were doing that. So say Jason set up a job for the Missouri Department of Conservation, and it's like, hey, here's a deer outreach specialist, and his job is to push all of the things that I think you should do. Well, nobody would approve of that. They'd immediately shut that down. The state legislators would jump in. They would immediately get rid of all that. And so he tried to do it through an NGO. And I put that out there. He sees this. I put his face on Facebook. I don't care. Like, listen, the industry's hated me from the beginning because I'll report on anything. I'll say what's real. I do want to take one step back and let everybody know, if I'm ever wrong about something, I have an open, I say, hey, my personal phone number is on my page. I get hundreds of millions of views a month, and my personal phone number's on there. Call me. Tell me what I got wrong. Let's talk about it. If I get something wrong, I write about it more than the things that I'm getting right.
Yeah, I can attest to that because most of the time that I get a phone, he gets a phone call and he comes down and tells me about it. And I'm like, he just got a phone call from say Michigan, and he's like, dude, this guy just called me, and he's like saying, dude, keep it up, keep going after him, keep going after the National Deer Association, or keep going after CWD, and they're all hyped up about what he's doing and what we're posting. So he keeps talking about that all the time. It's like every day we're working. Is 2 or 3 times a day at least he's getting text messages, or some guy's calling him, or getting emails or something. Yeah. So he's really touching a note with the average everyday hunter. So it's definitely true what he's saying. Yeah,
it's everyday hunters call me. It's state politicians. I've had calls from federal politicians, like on this, people that are like, hey man, just keep this between us. But I just wanted to say that, state level politicians especially, every day I'll get a state rep, a state senator, something like that, calling me, asking me questions, saying, they've offered to come on our podcast. I don't really have a podcast. I kind of do. It's me ranting a little bit about what the things that I don't elaborate on Facebook, but it's nonstop now. It's just constantly, and that's why I put my phone number out there, is because I don't want to I'm not necessarily part of the industry, kind of like you guys. Like, it's the same thing where I don't care about the industry. I don't take sponsorships because I don't want anybody to tell me what to say. The National Deer Association, or not them, the Missouri Department of Conservation.
Let me stop you there for just a second. I think you misspoke. It's not that we don't care about the industry. Yeah. We care about it. That's why we do what we do.
Yes, I care about the industry a lot. That's why I do it. But I don't care about the businesses and the money side of things. We have
don't
businesses.
care about the machine of the industry. It's like we're pushing back against kind of that. That's we've talked about that before. It's like the industry seems like it's become a machine lately, and it's like everybody's like a gear that turns and turns and turns, and we want to be kind of the one that's like almost like the counterculture.
Well, and to your point, all you got to do is scroll through Facebook or TikTok, and you see all these influencers we talked about a little bit, that have 3,000 followers, and they've got 15 different sponsors. You got fucking Yeti, and you got Mossy Oak, and you got this shoe brand and this bow brand, and what the fuck have they actually done?
Yeah, nothing. I get 300 million views a month on average. Nobody will take me on as a sponsor except for like small companies, and I turn those down.
Yeah, we have more followers than probably 99% of the Facebook, hunting brands. And it's crazy that, like I could probably go ask for sponsorships. I don't think I've ever asked for a sponsorship.
I don't think we have. I've never reached out. I've never asked for a free hunt. I've never done any. People send us stuff, but like the whole. But my point is with the industry, with Missouri Department of Conservation. There's another aspect of this I want to touch on. I think is pretty important. You have the game agencies. You have the NGOs. And then you have the AFWA. I've just been digging into them. I haven't even really wrote about this at all. It's basically all of the game agencies get together, and then they have like a little powwow together, and they all high five each other. And the way I describe it is, imagine going to a doctor, you get a diagnosis, and then you say, hey, you know what? I need a second opinion. And you look at the exact same doctor and you go, hey, what do you think? And then it's, well, obviously they're going to say the same thing. And then you say, you know what? I need a third opinion. And you ask the same doctor. That's what it is. You have NGOs telling the game agencies, telling the AFWA, and they're all the same exact people. Jason Sumner sits on the board of AFWA on the federal level. He sits on the board of the National Deer Association that he gives money to, by the way, the contracts I talked about earlier, and he's the head of the Missouri Department of Conservation. Chuck Sykes, who was the former Alabama head of the DNR up there, he was making like $300,000 a year. Then he moved to AFWA, and then he was their president for a while, making $300,000 a year. And once he retires, guess what he does? He gets to move to another NGO, not the National Deer Association. I forget which one it is, but it's a $200,000 a year job, and they got a federal grant for $1 million over the next 5 years, which comes out to his exact salary. Like, that's not a coincidence. So when people say follow the money, I'm actually following the money. And every time I do, I almost feel like a tinfoil hat person sometimes, because I'm like, wait a second, this can't be real. And then, I'll get some pushback. I think it's important to address the steel man all of your arguments. I try to always do that. I sit around. That's one thing that Aaron really helps me with is I'll come to him. I'm like, listen, I've got to be crazy.
I'm the voice of reason.
But the thing is, he's supposed to be. But how many times have I come to you and just gone, hey man, look, they're sitting on all these things. What am I getting wrong? Like, I have to be missing something here. And we go over everything.
I try and push back with using arguments. I'm like, what about this? What about this? And it's just like I'm hitting brick walls with the pushback. I'm like, I can't find things that make logical sense to what you're telling me and you're showing me the research. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Because you're firing back at me. This is what I'm seeing, and I'm looking at what you're showing me. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense, but could it be this? You're like, no, that's not it. No, that's not it.
Or I'll stop you and I'll say, hey, well, let's go file some public records before I post it. I'm really careful on this stuff.
Or we'll go look at that. Or, that's a good point. We'll go look at that and make sure that it's not that.
And this is actually a good transition right here. I think this is important because on my page, I have something I call the 100 million view challenge. Anybody that can show me a single deer population that's been decimated by CWD and not CWD policy, I will give them 100 million views. I will write about it. I will podcast about it. I will make videos about it until everyone in this country knows that CWD is a problem. And I've put this out there to these biologists, to these game agencies. I've been putting it out there for months. Once a month, I do the exact same post. It's the only post that I repeat like this because I think that it's important for us to know the truth, not my opinion, not the game agency's opinions. It's important to know what is real because if CWD is truly decimating our deer herd, I want to know about it because I have a 15-year-old daughter that I love hunting with. I have a 9-year-old son that I absolutely love. I mean, there's no way I'm killing anything with this kid. He just talks too much in the tree stand. Doesn't stop moving. But I don't care. My daughter shot a 10-point this year. There's a viral video out there. It's got, I think, 12 or 14 million views. And it's her, after she shoots this 10-point, she's getting ready for, right? She's a teenage girl. She's getting ready for pictures. She's doing her makeup in the tree stand. She's curling her eyelashes. And so I pull out my phone. I'm sitting there recording it. And what most people don't know is she did that the year before. And the entire last year, I've been waiting for her to shoot another deer just so I could catch her. I've been keeping it quiet. And then she looks over. She's like, Dad, stop it. Dad, stop it. Right? But those memories, that's the best part of hunting for me. Whether it was hunting with my grandma at the beginning, hunting with my mom, I've hunted my wife, my sisters, 4 generations of women killed deer in the same year in our family. And I love hunting with them. And I want hunting to go on. I want to keep hunting with them. So if there's something that's going to decimate our deer herds, I need to know about it, and I need everybody to know about it. That's how much I care about deer hunting. And that's why I have that 100 million view challenge. Now, you would think that these scientists, these game agencies, that they'd be all about it.
Yeah, they'd be tripping over each other trying to get to you.
Yeah. You know what? I've had nobody reach out that will publicly talk. I've had one scientist who I've agreed to keep anonymous right now, who did reach out because she pointed out that I overstated something. And she was right. And I actually have a post coming out in a couple of days about it. I wasn't wrong, but I did overstate it a little bit. And I'm going to correct the record on that. But everything else she said to me, we actually agreed on. And so how is it that listen, I'm just a redneck kid with an iPhone, right? That loves to read and write. If there was a problem, everybody would know about it. What else can I do? I mean, that's a serious question for anybody listening, for any of you guys. Sure. What else can I possibly do to help get the truth out there? If they're not willing to talk, it's because they're not on the right side of this issue. And you know who does talk to me on a regular basis? And I really didn't see this coming. It was a lot of the high fence guys. Dr. Seabury, he texts me like every day right now, like because I started diving into his research.
Got a man crush.
Well, listen, you talk to Dr. Seabury. He's a brilliant guy. He's so smart. He's almost hard to talk to. He'll like text me stuff and I'm like reading it. I'm like, all right, let me study your text message to understand it. A brilliant guy.
He's at A&M, right? Is Seabury at A&M?
He's in Texas somewhere. I don't know. I just met him.
Yeah.
He just started texting me. Like, he found out about me and some state level politicians. I forget which state, but they knew him and they reached out and
I think it was Oklahoma.
I think so. Yeah, Oklahoma is so connected to the National Deer Association. Or I believe it's Oklahoma just hired 6 biologists.
That was Arkansas.
Oh, was it Arkansas? Oh, yeah, that's right. Because Arkansas won't let me file public records without
I have to keep him straight.
Yeah, the brain injury guy over there is the one who.
Yeah. I think I saw that post, and I think I reached out to you, and because we know some people in Arkansas that if you need somebody to file, I feel like, especially after this podcast, we definitely get that. Yeah. We'll get that out there. Somebody's going to reach out to you.
Arkansas had so there's 6 biologists from Arkansas that are now working for the National Deer Association to push their whole agenda. Now, is it Arkansas or Oklahoma that's releasing the high fence deer, Aaron?
That is Oklahoma.
Okay, so I keep getting those two mixed up right now because there's a lot going on with both of them. There's Oklahoma Department of Natural Resources employees, Arkansas, Missouri. Those are the big ones right now. Over half of I think it was 55 or 60% of the employees for the National Deer Association are former game agency officials. At this point, it's like I said, it's a big circle jerk down there between the NGOs, the game agencies, and the AWA. Yeah, the machine, exactly.
It really is.
And so there's nobody pushing back on them, and I honestly feel like it's me. And for a while, and I almost hesitate to say this because it sounds conspiratorial, and I like having hard proof, but since I started pushing on this, I've had my businesses audited. I'm in the middle of an audit right now. I've had game agency officials in Ohio show up to my business just to talk in the weirdest possible conversation. A guy, and I want to keep this a little vague just because the government protects itself. And
no,
listen, what? Right?
You used to work for him.
But they didn't protect you, though. You got blown up. But the point is, like, I don't think it's a coincidence that as soon as I start pushing on this that my businesses get audited. Sure. You know, I've had people from very, very prominent places, attorneys, high-level attorneys on the federal call me. You know, I've been put in contact with people like, no, this does happen, just so you know. It's almost a little scary to talk about, but again, I'm gonna leave that part there. As much as I don't mind talking about anything, that's the one area where it's, you know, I provide for my family with this. My daughter and my son I love hunting with, my wife, like this, I provide for them with this. And when they start threatening your businesses, that does get scary.
Well, and you backed off it for a little bit too. I think I saw a post several weeks ago where you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna let this one go. I did. Getting a little hot, yeah.
I did, and I still remember sitting with my wife in our backyard. We're sitting by the fire, getting ready to post that, and going, I hate that I'm getting ready to post this. And she doesn't know a lot about this stuff. She shot a couple deer, but she's not like big into the industry. She's just listening. And I have a great wife, and she's just like, well, what should you be doing? I said, I need to protect my family, and I see game agency officials in unofficial capacity showing up to talk to me. And when I asked them questions about, so when the guy showed up, I was just going to ask him questions just to like get a post out of it. And then he started just diverting the conversation to taxes and all sorts of weird stuff. He wouldn't talk to me. It was one of the strangest conversations I've ever had, but I didn't pick up on it until the next week when my business got an official audit. And I started putting pieces together. I called some people that I know in government, and they were like, be careful. They need to know what it costs to buy you off or what it costs to ruin you. And that scared me. That's when I put up that post. It was the most scared I've been in my adult life. Again, I want to leave it there just because I don't like the conspiracy stuff. But it was a little scary for me at that point. I backed off a bit. Ted Nugent reached out. He called me. Some other people, prominent people called me saying, hey, don't back off. When I put up that post, it's the most times I've been contacted ever from anything I've ever done. When I posted that, and it didn't even go that viral, maybe 500,000 views. And I mean, phone calls, text messages, private messages, emails, everything. People going, don't back off. Somebody needs to do this. And I'll leave that part right there just because it is a bit of a touchy subject. We're still in the middle of that audit, and it's something hanging over my head on a daily basis. But I got to a point where I took a step back for about a week, and then I go, they're already auditing me. I've already stepped in it. I'm going to go 100 times harder now. Screw it. I'm filing every public records request I can, every FOIA request. I'm going after every game agency. If you're doing something bad, I'm going to know about it. If you're doing something good, like I'm getting ready to look into Ohio. So, I have a lot of contacts in Ohio. So Ohio, get ready. I'm going to doge your entire everything you're doing. I'm going to look into all of it. I'm going to take this up, 100 times faster than what I was doing it before. And over the last month, you've seen that. Where every day I'm writing about it. Every day I'm looking at the NGOs, the game agencies, Chuck Sykes. I put his face on Facebook. I don't mind putting any one of these politicians, because that's what they are at the highest level. The game agency's official, Jason Sumners, he's a politician. Don't be mistaken about that. These guys aren't just the good old down-home boys that just want to go shoot some squirrels like they want to make you think. They don't get to that level without being politicians. I go to these events. These state rep Heidi Workman, she takes me to these, fancy fundraiser in downtown Columbus.
I was going to ask you about that too.
I'm sitting there. They're passing around drinks, and the lobbyists and the special interests and the senators, and I've been to these things. Those high level game agency guys, that's where they're at. They're hanging out with those people that are making the laws, and that's what the average everyday guy doesn't realize is that. Well, actually, no. Let me take that back. The average everyday guy does realize that now. We are not represented anymore. The game agencies have a real credibility issue at this point. Ask who trusts the game agencies now? Do you trust them on CWD? This is a conversation me and Aaron had on the way down here. I go, back in the 50s, 60s, or even going back to the Teddy Roosevelt time, I've read every Teddy Roosevelt book you can get. There was real conservation wins. There was wins for deer. There was wins for public land. You can see these wins year after year after. You can go and read about them nonstop. But what's the wins that these game agencies have had in the last 20 years? Grouse being gone? CWD being a complete and total disaster? Where are the wins that these game agencies are giving us? They're not there because there's so much money tied to this stuff now. There's just this big machine, as we talked about a little bit ago, and I don't think that these game agencies are doing anything good anymore. Not anything good, but, and again, I'm not talking about your game wardens. And I know a lot of people have problems with game wardens if they got a ticket or whatever, but I respect law enforcement and I understand the need for them. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about the biologists. I'm talking about the heads of these game agencies. Show me the wins. I'll wait and I'll post about them. If anybody listening to this, send me the wins and I will write about it for a week. I average, this time of year is our slow time of year. It gets at least 250,000 views. I will write every day for a week on the wins for conservation, minimum of a week, because I want to know and I want everybody else to know. I'm not one side or the other. I'm ready to go in hard, if there's good behavior or bad behavior. I'm calling it all out. And I do not care anymore, especially since I got all of this, especially since I feel like I'm being attacked by the government with the audits and all that. Good behavior, bad behavior, wins, losses. I want to know about it, and I'm going to write about it, and I'm going to let the chips land where they may.
Have you guys, either of you, been following what's been going on regarding the flooded corn issue with the duck hunting and the Mississippi flood?
I wrote about that, but it's like I haven't followed it like intensely, just enough that I heard Senator Kennedy talking about
but
it.
that's my point. So I see the CWD and the whole flooded corn thing as two parallels, right? So with the ducks, it's Ducks Unlimited. I can't tell you how many $35 checks or credit card payments I made to DU to get my little cheap little fleece or whatever to do good for the duck population, because I'm a duck hunter. I duck hunted 20 years before I deer hunted. And now we come to find out that, these big, giant conglomerates, pardon me, that are charging $4,000 a day to go duck hunting are getting funded by Ducks Unlimited, which is our money, to literally bait. So they're planting, I'm not talking about 50 or 100 acres, hundreds of thousands of acres between all these in Missouri that are shortstopping these ducks. And that's why Kennedy got involved, because there's no more mallards in Louisiana.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They shortstop. There's
when
no
I
more mallards.
wrote about it, there seems to be a couple things going on with that, with like all these cornfields being flooded and then the mallards stopping. And also the weather changes, they don't need to migrate anymore.
So then they're trying to rake Arkansas into it, saying, well, what about Arkansas? Because everybody hunts flooded the rice fields.
Yeah, and flooded timber.
But the difference is with the rice fields is that's the process to harvest the rice, and it's what's left over is what attracts the ducks. These guys are planting corn and flooding up to the ear, so these ducks can come in there. And the Habitat Flats guy, I mentioned him, he's probably the biggest one. He said that they ate him out of corn, and he has, I don't know the exact number, but it's a massive amount of flooded corn. But my point with it is, back to the CWD, is it didn't take very long, and that got federal attention. Kennedy stepped up, and they're having hearings and everything else. Why don't we get that? How come we can't get that with CWD?
I think that over the next year, you're going to see that happen. I really do, because Ted Nugent's been talking about it for a while, and again, I didn't have an opinion on this before I started writing about it and actually read the science.
Sure.
I think that over the course of this next deer season, because of just how people pay attention, people pay way more attention in September, October, November. If you look at the algorithm, you look at our views and stuff, you'll see about what we do in April. We'll do about 3 to 4 times that in October through December. The average guy is out in the woods, and as this stuff comes out, the hardcore guys, they're seeing stuff, because how the algorithm works is if you buy something, let's say you Google like trail cams, you buy a trail cam online. Well, Facebook's getting all that data. Facebook is going to have that, they're going to start showing you hunting stuff because they know that you're interested in hunting stuff right now. When it comes to October, November, December, everybody who hunts is seeing hunting stuff in their algorithm.
Right.
And when this CWD series, and don't be mistaken, everything I'm writing right now is going to get redone in a much better way. I've got, me and Aaron talk about it all the time, I've got a list of things written out, like how can I do this better? I'm redoing this whole series when it comes to October, November, December, because I want the average everyday guy to be seeing this. My CWD posts reach millions every single month or every single day during deer season. They reach, 250,000, 500,000, something like that.
Right now
occasionally a million.
Yeah, right now they don't reach as much, but in deer season, it's going to explode. Because everybody in the woods sitting in their tree stand is going to pick up their phone, even though you're going to be missing deer because you're scrolling at your phone reading stuff. Because, hey, I do the same thing.
I did it.
But you're going to be sitting there scrolling Facebook, and you're going to see 2 paragraphs from Steven Ziegler or 3 paragraphs from me, and you're going to sit there and read it because what else are you going to do? Sit there and scroll or sit there and read something because you've got, 3 hours on your morning sit. And you're going to read about CWD, and you're already being fed hunting content. And
one thing, I want to jump in here, Aaron, because there's one major thing that's not being talked about. There's an election in November. And if you want to scare, especially state-level politicians, you're already seeing states voting on things that are, I wish I could remember them. Timmy Horton Outdoors, I've talked to him a few times. He actually just posted about this. Like all of the states that are pulling the state game agencies back, there's like 6 of them. And these are like major, like 90% votes, like 90% pulled back the game agencies. You're seeing this all over. By the time when you're coming into an election, if you get a politician, and this is where it's going. So any politicians let them know, because I'm going to be doing this. The next step from where I'm at right now, just to give a little heads up to everybody that I haven't talked about anywhere yet, the next step is going from the game agencies to who is voting to approve that money in the state legislatures, because I have no problem finding a state rep and saying, you are the head, you're the one in control of the money. Right. You're the one in control. Here's your name. Here's your face. I'm going to put it on Facebook. Justify why you gave all this money to the game agency that's giving it to the NGO that's all in this, everything we've ever talked about in that giant system and that giant machine. Justify it right now. What do the hunters think? I guarantee you this is a 90-10 issue. The CWD issue is 90-10, at least. Most people are not for, hey, let's kill all the deer to save them. And we can get into the science later. That's fine. I have no problem getting into the science of this. But when it comes to an election and the algorithm's favoring us, I'm going to put all the facts, all the science, everything out there. And I think that state game agencies look at their the political side of the hunting industry and go, hey guys, you're costing us votes right now. You're backing off. That's where I see this going over the course of the next year. And I think that leads up to the federal level too.
Yeah, because campaign season starts for state reps in August. So, and that's when prime hunting season and prime, I would say Facebook season really starts for us is in August. That's when elk season really starts, pronghorn season starts, and everybody starts to think about deer season. They're putting out their trail cams, they're looking at their velvet bucks and they're seeing them going into hardhorn. So they're getting ready there. That's when everybody starts to pay attention and you start posting, hey, to your, this state rep who represents you, you're seeing signs on your morning commute to work. They're screwing over your deer hunting, Yeah, and if we put out something like, send them an email. If a state rep gets 5 emails about something, they're paying attention. If they get 100 emails about something, they are scared shitless.
Yeah.
Great time to stop and take a leak and build another drink. What do you think?
Yeah.
I don't like the way Oscar's looking at me right now.
Rep, we're not known with CWD. We're still going to go down there. But I was just saying, I've seen a bunch of stuff, especially lately, and some of the reports coming out that you people say, oh, CWDs fail, it's this and that. But then I see other reports that say deer can be CWD positive and live their entire life, and then they just die of old age.
Yes.
So
Absolutely true.
Yeah, so it's
and with no visible, oh look,
Yeah.
there's got CWD.
yeah, it doesn't help like the whole zombie or vampire deer shit that goes on. No, that's not true. Literally, they've proven it now that you can carry whatever the
Alleles.
Okay.
Yes, alleles. I know. I read this.
Some cervids obviously carry it. But there are some species that are and that was the thing that got me. So what is it? Fallow deer, black buck, axis deer, one of the other species, they're CWD immune. Maybe water buck, something like that, but they're CWD immune.
We saw that when we were at a what was it? Oh geez.
Texas show?
No, it was at the this is my brain injury right now. It's like I can't even remember the word for a seminar. Jeez. And we were at a seminar at the SCI show where there was the biologist from University of Illinois. I think it was the University of Illinois. He was from Illinois. But he was he was showing this graph of all these deer and how many different genetic markers they had that were resistant to CWD. Just like you were saying, like fallows and black bucks and all these different deer showed multiple markers, way more than whitetail. And whitetail were at the bottom of like the different pathways of how their genetics kind of intersected and gave them more immunity to different diseases. I don't even want to pretend that I understand but I looking at this chart, it just showed the way that they just kind of like intermingled with their way their genetics intermingled, showed that they had way more resistance and adaptability to diseases. And so whitetail were seemed like they were closer to the bottom. Blacktail were actually lower than whitetail. So, and that was the end of his segment about how, if CWD goes to the blacktail population, they'll have absolutely zero immunity, where whitetail will have anywhere from, if a herd doesn't have any CWD, they may have like the 15% immunity up to somewhere to have up to 40% immunity right now.
Let's do. I mean, this is a great a great time to let's go into the science behind it, right? So, we jumped into CWD right from the get go, and we talked about, the NDA, and we're still going to bash those fuckers in a minute. But what I want to get into, let's talk about, I think it's important that I don't think everybody knows what CWD is. So, they understand, chronic wasting disease, they heard it, but they don't know what it is. So they see, everything that's out there in these news organizations, and it's the zombie deer or the vampire deer, but there's way more to it than that. So will one of you kind of break it down?
I've read the science. I'm the one who read all the scientific studies on it. So the first thing is to know that CWD, it's real. It's a prion disease. Basically, think of, and this is an oversimplification, but think of like a little Pac-Man in your brain eating tiny little holes in your brain over the course of years. Okay. Now, depending on what genetics the deer have, they can live with it for 2 years to, 4, 5, 6 years. There's been deer documented that have lived for longer than that. So I always compare it to dementia. And this is where the game agencies have somewhat of a point. And I think it's important to give credit where credit's due here. If a deer is getting slight dementia, it's obviously going to be easier to kill. So when you look at the Wyoming study, this was the initial study that really spooked everybody into starting to like really do something about it. And even what Jason Sumner said in our interview,
was circa 2010-ish.
2010 is when it ended. It was officially published in 2016, but it was like 2003 to 2010. Little side note, this is whitetail deer, not mule deer. Mule deer seem to maybe have a little bit more of a problem. Not an expert there. I'm not talking about that. Sometimes people get that confused. I've only dove into the whitetail stuff. So with this, it would make sense to me that if you get a little dumber over time because you have this disease, it'd be easier to kill you. Well, the Wyoming study actually shows that. When I can't remember the exact percentages, but let's just make something up so that people can understand it. Let's say 25% prevalence rate in whitetail deer in Area 65. The percentage of deer that were killed with CWD was about, I think, well, 25% would be a bad example, but it was 4 times what you would expect if it was just the same across the board. So that's kind of what scared these game agencies. And I understand why they made these policies in the first place. Because if you see deer are getting this disease at a higher and higher rate, and they're being killed at a higher and higher rate than their percentage of the population, well, it makes sense to do something. And I get that. And I actually would have supported trying to do something. Maybe, this, 20 years to slow the spread doesn't make sense. But, the 2 or 3 years to slow the spread did make sense. And it scared them. Well, if it's easier to kill deer for hunters, you'd think it'd be easier to kill deer for predators, or that they would die from other causes, like cars or whatever. That is partially true. And I want to make sure we cover the Wyoming study, then move into the Illinois study, because that's the best way to understand this topic. Wyoming was, this is I want to be careful here because people are going to bash me online for this, but whatever, I'm used to that. In Wyoming, right? So they have a bunch of deer in this area, and they say, hey, we're going to have a halving population of 5 years. You're going to go from, you're going to have it every 5 years. We should be at 20% of the population by 2025. But you didn't see that. Why? Well, it doesn't affect the reproduction of deer. Like CWD doesn't. Now, as soon as I pointed out that the Wyoming study didn't come to fruition, did we talk about this on here, or was this before the podcast?
Before the podcast.
Okay, so I just want to make sure, because I'm like, am I repeating myself? So basically what happened was you thought that by 2025 we'd have less than 20% of the deer population in Wyoming's Area 65. Jason Sumner said that on our interview. So I asked just a dumb, simple, easy question. Well, then what happened? Right? Like, did nobody go back and look? Because I know they're still hunting there. There's not a place in the United States that if 80% of the deer disappeared, that you still have a huntable population. There's not. And I know
USDA in Ohio knocked out 80% of the deer. They cut down tags, and there's a ton of hunters that decided not to hunt, just to prove your point. Be like 80% of the deer died this year, before last year season, and nobody hunted in those 3 counties in Ohio. So yeah, that is 100% true. If you lose 80% of your deer population, hunters don't hunt.
Exactly. And that should have been what it was by 2025. It didn't happen. And that's fine. I expect our game agencies to be looking into this stuff. But once you see that it didn't happen, you got to adjust. They're not willing to adjust. They're not willing to say, hey, we thought this was going to happen. Sorry, we were wrong. let's go back. Well, I put out the public records requests. I got the Wyoming studies, the population, or not the population, the harvest data from Wyoming. And it's interesting that Wyoming is like the only state that you don't have more than 4 years of data on harvest data. So I had to file the records. I got them. I put them out there online and said, hey, 2010's harvest and 2025's harvest are the same. Like, I mean, within 2 deer in the area where they studied. It's called Area 65. So I put all this stuff out online, and immediately the game agencies, the biologists, the people that are on that side, they immediately move the goalpost, which is how you know that they're losing, right? So they go, okay, but what about the bucks? It's like, well, hold on a second. You told us that this was going to decimate our deer population, and that never happened. So let's acknowledge that first. It didn't happen. They were wrong. They were provably wrong, and I proved them wrong online. And I don't think that any of them went back and bothered to check what actually happened in Wyoming. I think I was the first person. I believe I'm the first person that went back and checked the data. I really think that. And so then they moved the goalpost. Well, what about the bucks? Well, I started digging into the bucks too. The buck harvest is down about 8% right now. Is that because of CWD? Is that natural? I don't exactly know. There's no way to know. But it doesn't seem to be, it's not 80% down like they would have expected. And even I would have expected by looking at it Wyoming study.
What do you would think as a scientist, whoever did that study, right? They got it wrong, right? Demonstrably got it wrong. That's okay. That happens in science. The next step is, well, let's go back and look at it, see what happened.
Course correct.
Yeah, exactly. Our prediction of outcome didn't happen. Let's find out what happened. That's what science is, right? I mean, not like you said. Now the whole of a sudden the steel curtain's up, and we're going to charge on with false data.
Well, also you got to realize people have built their careers on this. There's a lot of people that have built their careers. Jason Sumner's being number 1 on that list. He has been hard on CWD in Missouri. And when you build your career on something, it's real hard to see and admit that you were wrong and course correct. And that's where a lot of these game agencies across the country are right now. Is, you know, like I said earlier, they're politicians. Politicians don't admit that they're wrong ever, right? Like that's just not something they do, right? Yeah, it's just something that doesn't happen.
It's kind of boat captains.
So the interesting with this thing with the science is, once I got there, I go, okay, well, the populations aren't falling off, but what is happening? I found the Illinois study was sent to me. Again, and it's the same one that Aaron talked about. And I want to simplify this for people as much as possible because it's a complex study. Mm-hmm. You have people will talk about different letters, the G's, the S's, A's, F, C. So there's different alleles, and those alleles are genetic markers. In this study, they use A, C, and F. A alleles are very susceptible of dying from CWD or with CWD. So they'll typically live about 2 years on average after getting CWD. So the deer's probably gonna make it to 3 or 4, whatever, longer than the average lifespan of a deer in those areas. But forget that. If you have 1 copy of C or F, you have like 90% reduction in even getting the disease. This is something the game agencies are completely wrong about right now, and I think intentionally wrong about at this point. They'll tell you, and you'll see this online. Well, if they have those genetic resistant deer, then they're just going to spread prions longer. That's not true. They don't get the disease at a much higher rate. Like it's a very small percentage that get it. Now, with the small percentage that get it, you can make that case like, well, the deer lives with it for 4 years. So what? If 5% of the deer get CWD and they live with it for 4 years, I mean, all of those deer are living past their lifespan in these areas.
Sure.
Yeah, then the retarded deer get shot.
Right. Well, and that's how natural selection works. That's how regular hunting, not
as God intended.
No.
I love that you said retarded.
I'm not afraid of that word here. But with that being said, when hunters go with regular hunting, there's two different sides of this. Obviously, the game agencies want to go in and kill all the deer to save them, right? Mm-hmm. So we went on a CWD hunt in Ohio, and what happened was there was every weekend they give guys guns. Hey, go out on the property, shoot as many deer as you want, kill them all. First weekend, there's 8 deer. That's either 6, then 3, then 2. When we were out there, there was like 1 deer killed over 4 weeks. And when we were hunting, we saw 1 set of tracks on the edge of our 150 acres. Didn't see a single deer. Now, Imagine if you have property right next to that CWD zone. This is the same exact feeling that guys have when they lose the property that they're hunting on. We had 450 acres that we used to be able to hunt on. Then it started getting leased out. And now we lost that 450. Now we only have the 100. Well, that hurts. And there's stories like this across the hunting industry, across hunting all across the country.
Well, and that's a topic in and of itself too.
Oh yeah, we can get into a whole leasing and
outfitters and all the other.
And people have been screwed over by that. And CWD is doing this, is screwing people over in the exact same way by killing all the deer that are around them. And not even if they're doing it on your property, they give out unlimited depredation tags to farmers in a lot of areas. Imagine if you live next to that farm. And there's 2 counties in Tennessee. And I got the documents from Timmy Horton Outdoor sent them to me, actually. When you look at the depredation tags, they have like the area, the name, and then the number of tags, and then a couple other things. Where it says number of tags, every single slot either says unlimited or as many as possible. Imagine if the farmer that's next to your property has a depredation tag that says, hey, you and your family go out and just wipe out as many as possible. Your hunting season's ruined. That's affecting real hunters all around the country when they do stuff like that.
That's like living next door to an Amish person.
Because I remember when Uncle Don, he used to do depredation tags for a farmer that he knew, and he used to shoot deer with his 270 rifle. And we live in Ohio. That's a shotgun only state. Yeah. And recently it's straight wall cartridges. But, back then it was just shotgun only. So you used to be able, gun season was 12 gauge, 20 gauge if you were, a little bit weak in the shoulder, but or a kid.
That's good for pussy.
But anyways, he was out there. You can shoot whatever. So he's out there with his 270, just dropping does. That was my great uncle, and he's like probably about 75 at the time. Just out there, he'd shoot 5 or 6 does a year at this farm.
Yeah,
that got depredation permits.
Now imagine if they gave you unlimited and just let everybody go on and wipe out all the deer, and your property's right next to that.
Yeah, he was a good old boy. He'd have crushed it every year. He'd have been happy. Can you imagine if they gave my grandpa?
We'd had so much deer meat, but for 1 year.
I could see him sitting on a fence line with a Mackinac on there, just
nonstop. And that's kind of what these game agencies are doing.
Right.
And it's screwing over regular hunters. And it's one of those things that I think that as the CWD zones expand, as the game agencies get more and more aggressive with this, more and more average guys are going, that could happen next to me now. The same, anybody out there that's listening that it goes, man, I've lost property to hunt. Just know that if that CWD zone is next to you, that can happen to you. But I want to kind of circle back to what we initially talked about. What is CWD? I want to make it clear that nobody's ever gotten CWD. It's, CWD is basically mad cow disease, but for deer. It is, Creutzfeldt-Jacobs in humans, scrapies in sheep. We have these prion diseases in multiple species, and it's never transferred from deer to humans. Now, the reason for that, and I bore people with this, and I barely understand it myself, but I talk to basically the base proteins don't match up, so you can't get it. Unless some other weird form of CWD forms, it's not going to happen, right? It's just not going to happen. So, but anyways, so kind of moving from that Wyoming study to the Illinois study, which is the genetic side of this. What they found, this is the part that blew me away. This was one of those aha moments where I go, wait a second, this can't be real. We know this from the scientific studies. How does not everybody know about this? The Wyoming study showed that I think it was a 10-year period, right about a 10-year period, with a very high prevalence rate of CWD in southern Illinois and a little bit of Wisconsin. They did this study, and it went from those alleles I was talking about that were CWD resistant, the natural selection process that has worked through all of history, that those prevalence rates went from like 20% or 25% to 60%. And then the prevalence rates of the CWD non-resistant traits went from like 70% down to like 30, right? So you see a natural selection process happening right in front of us. And it's not just that study. You have people like Dr. Seabury. Again, I'm just reading his research right now, so I'm not fully versed in it. He has all of these genetic markers showing very clearly that you can select for these genetics, and they do it inside of deer farms, which we can segue into that in a minute. But
the genetic solution, the natural solution, is the only solution that we have. When they say 20 years to slow the spread, like, what's the solution? Are you going to come up with a vaccine? Do we want all of our deer vaccinated? And I'd rather eat a CWD positive deer than whatever vaccine they come up with and vaccinate all the time. I mean, really.
Bill Gates vaccine that he, prescribes to some deer that he has to prescribe year after year. How do you even vaccinate that many deer?
Yeah.
There's 5 to 600,000 deer in Ohio alone. How do you vaccinate that many deer?
Well, you don't, and to think that you can is lunacy, and to try to make the public believe that you can is even a greater.
100%.
Shall we bring back that retarded work?
Absolutely. And one thing, while you're going there, we had a really weird thing that happened to us last year, and we can't mention the farm name, but because we know some deer farmers here in Florida, and that kind of transfers up, and they use a lot of the same vets. We hunted at a farm last year that, talking to a vet, that they have detected sorry, I was looking this up while you guys were talking. There is a so-called resistance to CWD. It's called 96 tight alleles.
Yes.
Those deer cannot contract CWD. There is a doe at a farm that we hunted with that is known in a small group of circles because they're trying to keep it quiet. We actually hunted at the farm. Turns out I knew the vet when we got there, and I asked the question, and they're like, nobody's supposed to know about that. But we started getting into that. So there is apparently there is an allele that they're working on right now, and it's mostly funded entirely by high fence deer farmers to counteract and try to breed in this specific type of resistance to their deer herds. So the government can't come in and say, hey, you got to kill all your fucking deer.
Right. But that again, that's just for the high fence guys. To get 500,000 deer in the state of Ohio, you can't expect to spread that through the population.
Right.
But you can control your farm. So maybe stop them from wiping your entire herd.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to go on with the Illinois study we saw the seminar on, the guy was talking about if you can jump a 30% prevalency to a 75% prevalency of this alleles and
The resistance.
resistance. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. You can reduce the spread of CWD. He showed a chart where it was just like dropping off a cliff of what.
That was 10 years, right? In a 10-year span?
It was 10 or 12 years.
No, but he had another chart on there where he's talking about if you can introduce deer and you can jump, if you could spike up the prevalency in your area to at least 75 to 80%, you just saw like CWD drop off a cliff. So, and I just did a whole series, a 10-part series on the history of whitetail deer in Ohio and how they reintroduced them in the 30s. How they put 300 deer in a pen in southern Ohio and bred them for like I think it was like 3 years. I got to check the dates because I can't remember off the top of my head. And then released them. That's how Ohio was completely, extirpated from deer from 1904 to 1930. There was 0 deer in Ohio.
No shit.
Imagine Ohio, one of the biggest deer states in the country. Hole in the horn buck.
Booner State for
Booner
sure.
State.
Yeah,
one of
Ohio,
the top booner states in the country right now. 0 deer in the early 1900s. They reintroduced deer in the 1930s. They put them in a pen, about 300 of them in a 700-acre pen. Started with 300 deer. They, a few of them escaped, but they got to about 1,000 deer, then took down the fences. And in 10 years, they spread across the whole state. In 1942, we had the hole in the horn buck in Portage County, which is 500 miles. I have to do the actual miles, 500 miles away from where they released the deer. So in 10 years, deer spread that far from Scioto County, Ohio to Portage County, Ohio. And that just shows how much the deer were able to spread, how much those deer were able to fill the vacuum of the habitat that was in Ohio. So basically, I don't even know if this is scientific if we can do it because we can look at the deer's alleles. We can look at, and we can find these deer in the wild. Because there are wild deer that have these genetic markers. I don't know what it takes to look at them, if it's a blood test. If we can capture wild deer, and we could put them in a 700 acre pen like we did in Ohio. And if we could release them in a CWD area and fill that vacuum, we can jump that CWD like resistance up.
That's what they're trying to do in Oklahoma.
That's kind of what they're trying to do.
And NDA is pushing back against it. And they have that Grant Woods guy who's constantly saying like, oh, we can't do that. Well, we have to have a solution. Your whole thing is let's kill all the deer to save them until we get a solution.
We did it in the 1930s.
Yeah, we know we have a solution.
Like, we have historical evidence that we did reintroduce deer to not only Ohio. I can't remember what other states we reintroduced deer into. It's like we reintroduced deer.
I do want to say one thing.
So
go ahead.
So okay, I got a couple of things. All right, first you mentioned Scioto County.
Yeah.
Right. That could explain why we have such great deer in Lewis County, because I'm literally right over the river, right there. Scioto County, Lewis County, Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, sorry, I digress. Secondly, the Grant Woods thing. Why does he push back so much on that shit?
I don't know, because and I'll be clear, this is what I was going to get at. I'm glad they're trying that. Well, I hope that they try that in Oklahoma. I don't want them to try in Ohio first, because I don't know. I don't, nobody knows. And I'll be honest about that. I know a lot of high fence deer guys are like, oh, well, this is the solution. It's the best solution we got. I don't know if it's going to work or not. The pushback on it is like, well, what if they're more, if they're CWD resistant, are they less resistant to other things that could kill them? I mean, there's no evidence of that, but I just don't know. I hope they try in Oklahoma, and then we see what happens there. I don't know why they're pushing back.
I mean, like EHD, for example.
Screw Oklahoma.
Right.
Well, we got to try something. We got to try something. That's my point.
Doing nothing doesn't work. But it's not like, once again, we're talking about the subject matter around CWD is, to me, it's almost this mythical fucking thing like COVID. Does it really exist?
Oh, I said it.
Leave it. I agree with that for sure. So let's go there, though.
COVID.
CWD 19?
Yes.
There's a
Can we say
t-shirt.
that? I bet you we have CWD 19.
Now, granted, I will agree that CWD is a real thing. Is it as big and bad and powerful as all these agencies want you to think it is? So this every year, whether it's Kentucky or Florida or Georgia, any of these Ohio, where this county popped for CWD, they found 8 years. So what they're going to do is close off. There's no feeding, there's no supplemental feeding, there's no corn piles, there's no anything within so many county radius, right? What the fuck is that supposed to do? So the corn piles and the mineral boxes are the problem with CWD.
Social distancing.
It's literally
They lick each other's faces, and we want to talk about 6 feet.
Right. So
got it.
My point with that
Just
is,
like put out masks next to people.
we talked about this.
arrows.
Trying to keep us on track. We kind of talked about this pre-podcast, and I said, I brought up there's a study in Canada right now, and I want to say it's Alberta. Somebody's going to fact check me in the comments. I first saw it. Are you guys familiar with Keith Warren?
Yes, very. I talked to him at the show.
So Keith, I saw this first with Keith. He was a high fence deer farmer. He had Texas Hidden Spring Ranch. Now he's in Oklahoma, I believe, actually.
Yeah.
And very outspoken. And I met Keith over 10 years ago in Africa. Hunted at the same place, Hunter's Hill, by the way, with his daughter Maddie.
Be there in 4 weeks.
But anyway, so I really like Keith, and he's actually the reason I started hunting in the Eastern Cape was because of Keith. But so he posted this thing and I started looking into it. So apparently, I believe it's Alberta, but they found this. So there's a 2026, it's called a PLOS pathogen study, showing that the CW vaccine approach can reduce or even prevent prion shedding in urine, feces. The model matters. CWD spread, and it matters because CWD spreads heavily through environmental contamination, as in piss, shit, saliva, carcasses, and prions that can persist for years. So they've developed this system now that Keith kind of brought to light. I'd never seen it before. That they said, yeah, this is actually going to work. And why the fuck aren't our state agencies jumping on board? And it was mute. Nothing. Nobody would respond to it. I'm like, dude, he's a well-known and well-respected person in the industry. Why the fuck did he got no traction with that whatsoever? I'm like, come on, his post did really good. Like somebody should be.
So you know what comes to mind when I hear that? So they tell you if CWD is detected in your county that you can't feed or have corn piles. Well, how about mandate that you're feeding your corn piles and everything has that in it?
Well, that's
So now you're
that's
feeding all the
kind of
deer.
what this study shows is that from artificial feed sources, whether it's corn pile or it's mineral licks and boxes and shit like that, they can essentially counteract a lot of. It doesn't cure CWD, but it gives them additional immunity. So even if it's CWD positive, it never shows signs of it in deer. But sorry, I got off on a tangent there because we talked about it earlier. But there's all these different things that they're doing, but nobody wants to fucking talk about.
They only want the government solutions. So the politicians, as I've said, in the hunting industry, they only want. Think if you're a hammer, everything's a nail, and for them, they're trying to justify their jobs. I think everybody's worked with somebody who's constantly busy and never getting anything done.
And I love that analogy, by the way.
We all know that guy. That's what these game agencies have turned into with CWD. They're constantly doing something and accomplishing nothing. Their stated goal. I mean, Jason Sumner's on our interview says at the end, he goes, we're in a really interesting spot right now where we don't have a long-term solution. It's okay, well, in the private sector, when you have to have a solution. Everybody's looking for a solution. You're looking to justify your job. And again, I know I've said a lot about Jason Summers. He's a nice guy. When I talk to him, he seemed like a nice enough guy. I just think he's wrong on all this stuff. So I don't want to sound like I'm attacking him on a personal level.
Almost believable when we were interviewing.
Yeah, right? Dude, everything. The guy he's an incredible politician. Very talented politician. That's not a compliment, by the way. Yeah, but
One of those guys that can sound like that us come out.
But no, when you look at the CWD solutions, it's all coming from these deer farm guys. I've never been to a high fence range. I've never hunted high fence deer. I don't even have a desire to hunt high fence deer. But I don't care who we have to work with in order to have a solution to protect hunting for future generations, for my daughter, for my son, and for my future grandkids. I don't care. The high fence industry has a genetic solution. They have, or possible solution, I should say. They have what was it? There's a live test. Oh, you weren't there with me. I was at I went to the High Fence Deer Convention at Kalahari up in Ohio, just because I will talk to anybody. That's where I met Keith Warren.
I know where you're going with this, and this is fantastic.
With what?
With a live test, so you don't have to kill the deer anymore.
Yes. Yeah, they have a blood test.
Yeah.
And they can just go and test deer and see if they have CWD or not. Right now, they're doing an anal test. They go up. It's super invasive. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You want to talk about? Hey, listen, we'll get this is going to get wild. I mean, they rip stuff out. They're testing it, and it's 60% accurate. This new blood test is 98, 99% accurate. I talked to the doctors who were developing it when I was there, and if they watch this, they're going to lose their minds because I'm not explaining it right. Because every time I would try to talk, I'm like, so you're telling me it's no, they would use all of their scientific terms, right? But the overall point for the average guy is it's very accurate. It's not that invasive, and they can test them. That's going to help our research too. That's going to help, to expand on stuff like the Illinois study. That's coming from the high fence crowd. They're the only ones, and it's because it's from the private sector. You have the private sector and you have the government. Which one innovates? It's clear. Just look at the history of this country in general.
Yeah, unless we're at war, the government doesn't innovate. Unless it's about killing the enemy. We don't innovate. It's just the nuclear weapons or blowing stuff up with a plane. We don't innovate. And CWD isn't killing people, so we don't innovate.
Exactly.
That is going to be real for sure right there. That is fucking spot on.
Yeah. So yeah, it's, I see a lot of solutions from these guys that I never thought I would talk to high fence deer hunting guys ever. I just don't have an interest. But now these are the guys that are the ones that are willing to talk to me. Dr. Seabury being one of them. His Ox Ranch study is the one I'm reading. He apparently, and excuse me if I'm wrong on this, or missing this a little bit, but the guy who owns that's apparently a bazillionaire or something, right? And he had CWD on his ranch, and he could afford to just not kill all of his deer, right? He didn't need the money. He just liked deer farming. And so Dr. Seabury went in there and studied all these deer, found all the genetics, came up with this whole system to test whether or not they'd be resistant to CWD. And where are any game agencies on this? They're ignoring anything that's not kill all the deer to save them. And I, for the life of me, can't understand why they don't work with these guys.
Yeah, and I think and I've always had a problem with that, to come in, especially to a deer farm, and tell these guys you've got to kill all your deer. Was it last year, was there some legislation in Alabama that got passed that Alabama or Mississippi that prevented the state from doing that shit now?
I've had some conversations with some farmers who've literally reached out and like, hey, I'm glad you're writing about this. We've seen our friends lose their entire businesses,
Right.
but I don't actually know enough about that really to speak on it yet. But I'm looking into that. I am looking into that kind of stuff because there's just so much for me to cover and read into. And
Yeah, we posted a little bit about it last year because it pisses me off, because we have friends that are in the deer farming business, and the idea that the state can come in. So, and it's weird. So, states in the U.S. anyway, the state owns a wildlife, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to me, when it's a deer farm for agriculture purposes and you're raising livestock, the fact that the government can come in and say, you must kill these deer, we own these deer, that's asinine to me. To think, well, our friends have millions of dollars invested in these fucking deer.
Yeah.
And it would be like the government coming in and saying, oh, no, we can tell you what to do with your cattle and how you're going to feed them and this and that. They're going to tell you to fuck off. They can't do that. There are limits to what the USDA and other organizations can tell, and unless there's an extenuating circumstance like a disease outbreak. So, and there's some shit coming up from South America. What is it? The screwworm? Yeah, screwworm right now. They need to be involved in shit like that. However, the idea that they can come in and tell you've got to kill $1 million worth of deer, that's for more, just because we think.
So the pushback on this, and I get this all the time online, is because with your average guy, now forget the game agencies, all that, with your average guy when it comes to deer farms, is that there's this belief that CWD is coming from game farms. CWD started in a lab in Colorado in '68. This isn't controversial. They were apparently injecting scrapies from sheep into deer, and then they found the first wild case of it right outside of that lab. You guys can determine what you think that sounds like.
Wuhan.
Lyme disease. Take a pick.
Yeah. Wuhan, Lyme disease.
A lot of diseases. Yeah. So I look at that and I go,
know that.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
It's
Yeah.
not controversial. This is not one of those like things where people are going to dispute it.
Nope.
Game agencies won't dispute this. Okay. So does it come from these high fence deer farms? I have been trying to find evidence that CWD has spread from game farms into wild populations. I'm not saying that it hasn't, but most of these places are completely fenced off, double fenced. There's no nose to nose contact. Prions are very hard to spread. And again, read the game agent, listen to the game agent. They'll tell you the same thing. You have to have a lot of contact to spread CWD. So how is it that deer that are all inside of this fence are spreading it all across the country when they're not engaging with wild deer really at all? It doesn't make sense. Again, this is one of those things for me, like at the beginning of me writing about CWD, where I don't know exactly what's true yet, but I know that what I'm being told isn't right. And I'm just looking into it more right now.
Let's take Ohio, for example. The CWD zone is 100 miles away from the closest deer farm that they have proved to be infected with CWD. It's in I think Marion County. It is like the CWD zone. The only deer farm they've ever found infected with CWD is in Holmes County. And they're 100 miles apart. How did CWD get to this place? There isn't a deer farm anywhere near the CWD zone in Ohio.
Bats.
Yes, bats. Somebody ate a bat or a pangolin.
Pangolin.
It's those pangolins, those cute little guys that rub
Anybody ever see
Ohio
pangolins? Anybody ever see that Jon Stewart bit?
Yes, that's how Jon Stewart bit.
John was onto something, man.
Oh yeah, that is his best bit.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but still, it's like, how did they get there? I have theories, but there's some of them that seems to be a little bit controversial. Like, deer congregate in fields, and they spread their, the prions through all the fields, and you can't, transport deer, anywhere there. But guess what? You can go harvest that alfalfa that they were all in, that they've been, pissing and shitting on. And you can sell it all across the country.
That's Timmy Horton Outdoors. He
talks about that all the time. It's like, they have made no restrictions on any other type of agriculture besides a deer.
Right. You can't move deer from state to state. In most states, even like Florida is locked out. You cannot move cervets into Florida or out of
But I bet you if you go to any of the CWD areas, there is no restriction on moving any of that alfalfa or any of that corn or any of that. And especially the alfalfa, which gets spread to the cows, they get spread out in the field for them to eat.
That's another rabbit hole that I'm about to go down. Like, and again, I read all Tim Horton stuff.
I've never thought about that before. That is an
Where does that go to? It's like, they say it persists in the soil and in the plants forever. And, it takes so much, you can't destroy the prions.
But again, if that's the case, why are there any deer left if that's the case?
No, it's like, and they talk about deer spreading it, and like, you're taking stuff from the environment when the deer were that are CWD positive in areas that are CWD positive, and you're doing agriculture work and you're spreading it all around the country.
Well, right now there's a strong correlation there, and this again. I need hard proof on stuff. Yeah, and Timmy Horton has a real strong correlation, but that doesn't necessarily make it true.
Yeah, I assume it's not the same Horton, but not the restaurant guy.
No, he's not from Canada.
Okay,
they don't do
those restaurants.
Those muffins and
restaurants are really good.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah,
love me some Tim Hortons.
So no, it is a very interesting theory there. But why are game agencies not looking into it? Why is it that they don't look into the things? Again, this is government versus free market. You would think that that'd be the first place that they would look. There's very strong correlation. Everybody, like a lot of people, especially in the industry, it's not like these heads of the game agencies haven't heard this stuff before. That are they not studying it? Why aren't they looking into it? It seems like they don't want to fix the problem, or there's no incentive because they're government.
Yeah, going back to that, they would have to go to the Department of Agriculture at each state and have to be like, hey, you shut that down, and that's a multi-million, if not billion-dollar industry.
Could that be the thing of just like, well, I'm in charge of the deer. I don't control hay. I don't control corn.
How much money would that cost the government if they shut down movement of those sorts of things?
I think exactly that's what it is.
Well, during the big thing, when we all allegedly got sick, why were liquor stores and Walmart open but church and the gym weren't?
Money.
What are you talking about?
How come I have to wear a mask when I'm standing up, but when I sit down, everything's better now?
What bullshit are you talking about?
Schmove it.
I missed all that. I was gonna
CWD 19.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about witchcraft now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You said earlier that you don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. Well, it's kind of hard not to be with this, because when you try to justify, okay, they're ignoring. They do some scientific studies. They make some assumptions. They're wrong. They ignore it. They're barreling through with all this. They're proven wrong repeatedly. They still barrel through with all this. They're wiping out you're like, what is it? Is it follow the money? Is it, hey, we're really all a bunch of anti-hunters. We're just going to try and stop people from hunting. I'm not saying it's any of those things, but it makes you think.
So I think this is something that I'm looking into now. It's interesting that the biologists who are studying this are largely on the left, right? Like, so I brought up somebody who works for the National Deer Association that is she's their head of policy. She doesn't hunt. She's shot a deer in her life. She has a agriculture degree.
I saw this post.
Dude, I couldn't believe it. They put it out there. The National Deer Association's head of policy didn't hunt until she was in college, and she shot a deer. And now she's in charge of policy for the National Deer Association, which is advocating for the CWD laws that affect me. She has no connection to my heritage. She has no connection to the history of hunting, to our culture. She doesn't have any connection. Yeah, right. She can plant food plots. Her degree is in agriculture, and international agriculture is her master's degree. What gives her any authority to talk to me about deer diseases? You know that when she graduated, she went to working for right. Yeah,
YouTube.
She worked for the lieutenant governor. Then she was head of legislative policy and was it Missouri? I can't remember. It was Missouri, Oklahoma, one of those states that is all involved with the National Deer Association. And then she goes to work for the National Deer Association as the head of policy to tell me about my heritage, about how I hunt, about how to manage deer, because you took 13th through 16th grade and some extra classes on corn, and you're telling me about prion diseases? Shut up. You have no authority here. Stop talking to me. Like, get out. This is incredibly dumb. And no, this is important because these people, the pushback that I get, they're like, oh, well, we got to trust the scientists and all that. It's like, well, the guys running the game agencies they're not scientists. They are the 13th through 16th grade guys. They're not tied to our heritage, for one. And even if they aren't doing the research themselves. And you know what it qualifies, how you can be qualified. Anybody listening to this, any ordinary guy out there, this is the qualifications that it takes to be able to talk about CWD. A third grade education, because that's when you learn how to read. Can you read a scientific study? I can read. I'm just as qualified as Jason Sumner's or the Sykes guy, Chuck Sykes, or any other, or that girl that works at the National Deer Association, any of them, because I can read. I read the science. And when I'm talking to these guys, they always say the same thing to me. I have it on, I think I have it on camera with Sumner's, where he says, oh yeah, I said, I read the Arkansas study. He goes, oh yeah, you read the abstract, you read the conclusion, you got to get it. I'm like, no, I read every word of these studies. And if I didn't understand it, I looked it up. I talked to people. I understand every word. I read it. So the only qualification anybody has to have an opinion on CWD is to be able to read, look at the research, and use some common sense.
That leads me into, well, I can't read.
No.
I'm not even going to do that.
That's not true. I saw you with the Penthouse Forums the other day.
So, and I wanted to get into this too, and so we're talking about the NDA. So, but in your opinion, in y'all's opinion, does it still, the NDA, is it still representing deer hunters, or has it become too close to agencies and grant money?
So the important part to remember is the guy running it, it's Nick Pizziotto or something like that. I forget. I write about him a lot. He
Italian guy.
Yeah. He lost in the time he's been running it, since I think it was 2019, he's made, about $1.5 million, and he has lost 97% of paid memberships in that time. I have people sending me stuff that used to work for them all the time that don't want me to post things. But if you look at, this is very uncontroversial. You can look this stuff up. It's pretty easy to see. And in that time, if you look at the salaries of the people working for the National Deer Association, it's about 5 to 6 times higher than it was in 2019. It's skyrocketed. Salaries have skyrocketed.
If it's not coming from subscriptions, where is it coming from?
It's coming from all grant money. Right. So it's, whether it's Jason Sumner's in Missouri sending him money, or it's federal grants, which I have a bunch of FOIA requests out. They got $266,000 for a podcast and advertisements to increase hunter recruitment.
Hunter recruitment.
What did you do with that?
Could you do it? Could you guys do with $250,000 for your podcast?
Sign me up!
Sure.
Oh my god,
I could be very persuasive.
Right? Would you speak positive of CWD policies if you got $250,000?
Oh, I can be bought.
I have a question for all three of you guys. Can you name the National Deer Association's podcast? You guys are in this industry. Can you name their podcast?
I didn't know they had one.
I don't know anybody that knows what it is. Nobody listens to. I've been in this industry for a decade. You guys have a podcast in this industry. Nobody knows. And if you're listening to it right now, ask yourself, do you know what their podcast is? Bet you don't.
$250K?
National Deer
Association.
No
channel?
No, it's like Deer Hunting 365 or something, which they do like 20 podcasts and get $250,000. And it's also for ads. Okay. But every grant has to have measurables. So I have FOIA requests out on what their measurables were. How many people did you get into hunting from that? Can you show me? Show me how many people that $250,000 got into hunting.
Right.
If there's nobody that you can show me that got into hunting, you used over $250,000 of hunting dollars that was supposed to help recruitment, which we have a problem with, and accomplished nothing. And I'm betting you right now, they accomplished nothing with that money other than paying themselves. And you can see it in the salaries from 2019 to 2025. And if you go into the guy running it, again, if you lose 97% of the paid memberships, That how hard is it to lose a membership? I mean, I'm signed up for stuff every once in a while. I see my phone and I'm like, crap, what was that? I got to go back and look. People intentionally said the National Deer Association, formerly QDMA, you guys do not represent us. You don't represent us so much that 97% drop them. And I say 97%, but they hide their numbers now. So in their 990 forms, this is their tax forms.
Yeah.
They mix the memberships with a couple of other things, so you can't know how much membership money comes in. Now they might be out of members. They might have 0 memberships. In fact, I bet you they do have 0 memberships. I bet you, or maybe it's just the people working there that are still members.
They probably count because I'm on their email list still.
They
They probably will take me off after they hear this.
Well,
But
they have 2 podcasts apparently.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they have 2. That's called NDA's Coffee and Deer and NDA's Deer Season 365.
That's the one. Oh, I didn't even know the real name of it.
I've never fucking heard.
Nobody knows who they are. How are they getting federal money that's supposed to help improve hunting?
See how many people look at it.
Why are we getting federal money? We should federal money. Come off.
If he pulls up in like a Lambo or something, you're gonna know somebody's getting federal money.
He's gonna come in here dressed like the Macho Man. Well, let me tell you.
And you know, the National Deer Association drives me crazy, and this is the first one that I've looked into. There's other NGOs out there, and I'm like, look, the rest of them are. I get messages all the time. Look into this one, look into that one, and I don't know which one. If I find a good one, okay, let me point out a good one, because I'm not just about bashing people. I want to talk about what's good in the hunting industry too. The Hunter Nation. I talked to Keith Mark, who runs it. They have Donald Trump Jr. on the board. They have Ted Nugent on the board. I think Craig Morgan is like a country singer. Like they have like big names on that board. It is a good organization that represents the everyday hunter. So like Hunter Nation, absolutely. I became a member. This is the first one I've become a member of since QDMA. Back in the day, I was a member of them before I dropped them because of, this was, around COVID time. But again, when everybody else was dropping them, Hunter Nation's great. I think that, we should support those type of organizations. If you're in the hunting industry and you want to see things get better, we should find the good. We can't just call out the bad. And we've been doing a lot of calling out the bad because there's a ton of bad in this industry that nobody's wanted to talk about until now. And, let's also talk about the good with Hunter Nation.
Yeah. Another one I like is the Sportsman Alliance. They do a lot of, advocacy work, in the court system, suing the government. They're suing Washington State, which that place is a shit show. And, they just advocated to pull the anti-dog hunting bill out of the farm bill, which is great. I posted about that a bunch, and
I posted about that too, and that thing went crazy.
Oh yeah, I don't know how many. I got a couple million views, probably more than I got a few million views on that.
I have sorry, I have to let you go back to it. But so I used AI and I built this app, right, that scrubs the internet every day to tell me like the hot button topics associated with like conservation and shit like that. And it popped up one day, and so I like researched that with the Facebook. I went nothing. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Nobody's talking about this thing. So I made one post, and it, like, for us to get 500,000 views, like, that's viral to us, not to you guys. But I'm like, holy fucking, it pissed everybody off. And then Sportsman's Alliance, like 2 days later, I see all their posts and then I saw it and then I tagged him in. I'm like, holy fuck, this is a real thing. And I read the bill. I'm like, it's clear as day. And these people are like, no, it's not going to ban dog hunting. The fuck it's not. It's got all this language in there that you don't see. Because it was called like the Greyhound bill or some shit like that.
Yeah, it was like, but it was expanded. It was like, banning greyhound racing, but it's like, coursing with dogs, which the definition of that would ban just about every single type of dog hunting, from retrieving ducks with dogs to running rabbits with beagles. So I posted on that. I made a reel about it, which I usually don't make a lot of reels, but and every single one of them reached at least 1 million to 500,000 people. And and I put I posted the Sportsman's Alliance link. He's like, here, email your congressman to get this pulled out of the bill. And, it was 2 to 3 days later, you saw that it's like after the influx of sportsmen advocated to get this removed, we got it removed. So I'm like, I know that I was part of that. You were probably part of it.
To a smaller extent than you, but yeah.
But hey, I don't care who was. Every little piece of it matters.
My neighbor in Kentucky was too. Massey jumped on board with it. So my neighbor is Congressman Massey.
I'm a big fan of Musky. I'm a very libertarian, leave me alone type of guy. I like Musky.
That dude's awesome. By the way,
his ass like
I'd
that.
love to meet him.
Yeah. So he's my neighbor, literally my neighbor in Kentucky, and he was one of the ones that jumped on it instantly. He's like, no, and like, fuck, that a boy neighbor,
Right? Yeah, get after it.
That's a good neighbor to have.
Yeah, right.
He worked there. He goes, "Oh, that's good. The congressional stand." I'm like, "What do you call that for?" He's like, "Fuck." To the neighbor. I'm like, "Oh, it makes sense now."
Yeah, so I literally have a food plot that's called the Congressional, and nobody knew what it was. And like, why the fuck would you call a food plot, name it the Congressional? I'm like, well, you see that fucking big ass house down there? Yeah, that's Congressman Massey's house.
That's right. You ever call him to go retrieve a deer off his property?
So I have friends that are from Northern Ohio and PA, and they actually leased the property from him. And it was a weird story back in the day. They, and this is going back, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago now. He used to lease it to an outfitter that just went fucking stupid and hunted on all the neighbors and mucked shit up. So I saw it, like there were stands on me, like hundreds and hundreds of yards inside a clearly marked property line. Like it's not even fucking close. Like, so we went, cut all the fuckers down, and he had them chained, and we cut them all down. And then I found out that he finally kicked them out because enough people bitch. And these new guys from Ohio and PA came in. I'm like, fucking here we go again. So one day I guess they're up trying to look at property lines and figure shit out. And I posted no trespassing signs and fell fucking trees in like kind of, and they're not joint. Pretty much the access is all on me. So I just fell trees down and shit, said, fuck you, you're not coming on. And they called me and I'm like, here we fucking go again. And then I met with the guys. I'm like, oh, no, we actually have a lot in common, and they're about it advancing the age class, and they turned out to be some of our best friends ever.
Yeah.
Like just two random guys that I didn't know, and like they're great. They're great neighbors to have, and they lease from Massey, and he's been a great neighbor too. Like I never get any shit, and if we need to go over there, they need to come over on us. So it's a really good relationship, and I've never that's a perfect world. If you have a neighbor that's like that, and then what we ended up doing is, I secured a timber lease that's owned by Ohio Valley Veneer right next to us to expand the property. So now we literally landlocked ourselves from all the other fucking neighbors. So now we can control well over 1,000 acres. So I don't have to worry about all the other bullshit and stuff. And we can actually, some of the, advancing age class and really being selective. And the problem with Kentucky is you can't cull bucks because it's a $1 state. So what we started to do is several years ago, we worked with like NWTF and other local organizations, the Lewis County Shooting Sports Organization. And so we donated a bunch of youth hunts, and we get the kids out there, and all like those cold bucky kind of shit that we don't want to kill the genetics. We let them shoot those deer, and they fucking love it. Those kids out there shooting those, oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever.
That's awesome.
And to hunt, I don't know if, and you have kids, so you've hunted a kid. Their first deer, to see that and be successful, especially with a buck, man, that's the greatest feeling in the world. If you can't get jacked up over a kid harvesting a deer, you don't even fucking be here.
Oh yeah, my son killed a 4-point as his first buck. He was excited. He was 14.
And we've done that there between deer hunting and turkey hunting, where we do these youth hunts and get everybody else involved. I know this is way off fucking topic, but I think it's our way of like giving back a little bit, like to see a kid, if we don't, and numbers were so down pre-COVID, right? And then they did come up. That's the hoo-hoo word that I'm not supposed to say, but they did come way back up. But now I'm starting to see a drop in the numbers again, right? But if we don't encourage this next generation to hunt, we're not going to have anything left. Like it's easy for the politicians to step in and just take that shit away if there's not a big enough group of us.
We're one generation away from losing hunting.
Yeah.
And that's an important point to remember, is that even though we talk about all this controversial stuff inside the industry, the reason we're talking about it is because we care about hunting, which you pointed out at the beginning. We really do. Hunting with my daughters, we got to start hunting with my grandma, and I hunt with my daughter. She again, I'm going to brag on my daughter a little bit here, 15 years old. When she shoots a deer, she shoots it, tracks it, guts it out, helps me drag it in, quarters it up, skins it, cuts it, cooks it, everything. 100% from the time that deer is standing in front of us till that deer is being chewed up by us is 100% on her. And that's something that's lost on a lot of kids. And we've got to find ways to get more kids into hunting. And I don't think it's enough to, again, this is why it makes me so mad when I pointed out the fact that they're getting all this money for hunter recruitment that's not going to anything. That could go to, you could just get pheasants and have a pheasant hunt for kids.
Absolutely.
I mean, how many pheasants could you buy with $250,000 and get some volunteers and put them in a field and get a bunch of kids out there to go hunting? Those are real hunting dollars that are being wasted.
Yeah. I volunteer with veterans to take them hunting and fishing. We could take $250 million, not $1 million, but $250,000. How many veterans that have never hunted that are self-isolating in their houses with PTSD? How many of those could we get out to go hunting and fishing and get them out and, prevent that 22 a day? That part breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Because those are my brothers and sisters. Because let's face it, anybody that's served in the military knows somebody that has died and committed suicide from somebody that has got PTSD from serving. Sorry, I'm a little emotional for that. Yeah. It always hits me when I talk about that. And with $250,000, I volunteer for a group called the Fallen Outdoors. We get out maybe 200 to 300 veterans a year to go hunting and fishing, which is a lot, but it's not enough. Yeah. And we have a budget of maybe 20 or 30,000 on the state of Ohio. With 250,000, how much could we do? And you're just spending that money on a fucking podcast.
Yep. Well, a podcast that nobody watches.
Yeah, nobody listens to it.
On their last video, we got 450 views. No, I'm looking at. I should not look.
450 views. Maybe they're better on Spotify.
I couldn't have been that hour Apple.
Yeah.
They're a big Rumble guy.
I had a question. I do have a question. I think it's important to piggyback off all that. Which I have FOIA requests out on it, so I don't know who approved this money, but what congressman approved that money? Which state representative approved that money? I want you to tell Aaron. I want you to call him up and tell him.
Yeah.
Where did that money come from? Now it's for a podcast and ads. It's for both of those things. I'm be clear because that'll be the pushback. Whoa, we also ran some ads. Okay, fine. Tell him. Tell the mom of the kid who their dad is dead now.
Right.
That committed suicide from this. Tell them why you voted for it.
But like you said earlier, even for ads, they have to prove that it did something.
Yes, it's called a measurable on all of these grants.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting again. October. My FOIA request got pushed out to October. But just know that in October you're going to see posts from me as to how many people they got into hunting from those ads. Well, it better be there.
And we talk about in October, and I'm happy it's in October because that is prime deer season when everybody's paying attention. So when $250,000 that was wasted is going to come back and say that you got nobody to get back into hunting when you could have spent $250,000 to got a whole bunch of more people into hunting, or at least go on their first hunt and actually made a difference. That's going to go viral. That you wasted that money, and that is good. That if we were reporting it now, not as many people would see it. When we report in October, everybody's going to see it.
They should see it. Everybody should know. If they're wasting hunting dollars need to be spent wisely to help the future of hunting, to help veterans, to help kids, to help all that kind of thing. And that's why I hate complaining all the time, and I'm trying to bring up some solutions too. But the money that is involved in this, the National Deer Association, I think they get $5 or $6 million a year. I don't know what they actually do. Why didn't Jason Sumner set up a program instead of deer outreach program? Why didn't he set it up for something else? Why is it that these federal dollars, why does Pittman Roberts money goes to the National Deer Association? I have that. I can see that. I don't know what for yet. Again, these are grants. I'm still figuring this out, and I'm investigating it every day. I mean, it takes hours and hours and hours to do this stuff. Why are they getting that money? Why is it that Pittman Roberts money is going to reimbursing these states 75% of these CWD-19 tests? Why are we spending all that money on reimbursing the states for those when the stated position from the states is this is not a solution, and they are refusing to work with high fence? We need to spend hunting dollars wisely if we want to have recruitment, if we want to have hunters in the future. And that's what pisses me off the most about this.
On site. Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest thing I take away from it is, again, the machine. It's the machine. We talk about the machine. It's not a grassroots thing. It's not you and I and us talking about hunting, going hunting, promoting hunting, getting our kids doing it, getting our kids to get their friends done. It's gone so far away from that, and it's become this just grinder of this money goes to this and that. And, you know, you can call it whatever you want. You know, it's deer outreach. What the fuck is that? And, you know what I mean? Not only what is that, but what has it done?
Show me the numbers.
Yeah.
Show them to me. You know, and I have like, I hope I don't get her in trouble for this because it might put some pressure on her. But State Rep Heidi Workman, she's already told me, she's like, anything you need, let me know. Just like, hey, behind the scenes, getting me into places. Who do you need to talk to? What do you need to know? I've got people. There's good people in government. There's good people in hunting. There's good NGO. NGO is not it's turned into a dirty word, but it just means non-government organization. But when it's a government-funded non-government organization, that is a dirty word. So I have some people behind the scenes helping me out, and I can't say enough about her being willing to help me on some of this stuff, even though this might get her in a little trouble. I don't know.
Well, I think this brings us to another quick stopping point. We've been rambling on, not rambling. I mean, this is all good shit. I feel like this is one of these podcasts that could go for 4 or 5 hours, but let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll close it out with some rapid fire. What do you think?
All right. Sounds great.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with a couple more questions, and then we're going to go into rapid fire. So rapid fire is just literally, I'm going to ask you guys a question. The first thing that comes out of your mouth doesn't have to be a deep dive, and it can be a yes or no, or just a really short answer. It doesn't have to be, but I'll tell you, we're going to get into that. So,
all right,
add a couple more things, and I really want to talk about. So, is outdoor media too scared of losing sponsors?
Absolutely. That's why everything is exactly the way it is right now. I mean, you can look at anybody else. Is it anybody else other than, I mean, us on Facebook, you guys? Who else is just willing to call out bad behavior? Because like I said at the beginning, when I went to write about Cabela's, and actually I don't think I said it on this podcast, I said it before, Cabela's put out a whole memo about not posting pictures of African animals. I got the memo. I posted it. And then someone took a screenshot of our website at the time and had a Cabela's ad at the top, and then me bashing Cabela's for doing something wrong. And we lost that sponsor. I mean, we were making a couple $1,000s a month off that. It was our top banner ad back in 2017, 2018. You lose sponsors by doing exactly what we're doing right now, which is exactly the reason why I don't take sponsors, because I can't. Like, my personality doesn't allow me to not say whatever I want to say. It doesn't. And that might get me in trouble sometimes, but I'm okay with that. Call me out. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it and I'll write about it. But
personality gets me in trouble.
Well, and to your point, we talked about this, pre-show. We're exactly the same way. We have never taken a sponsor. We refused it, and we've had several big sponsors reach out, and we're just not going to do that. Plus, I mean, Mike gets a little mouthy sometimes, and I mean that
Tourette's.
Right, but at the end of the day, it's not. We do make money. I'm going to be clear as day. We do make money off what we do. It's insignificant, comparatively speaking, to the money we invest to produce it, right? So it's not even covering cost. We do it because we love what we do, and we like bringing information to people, and that's what people need to understand. These social media warriors that we're seeing every day, they will fuck their brother for $10 bill. They literally don't give a shit. It's horrible, and maybe that's not the best analogy.
Well, how about this analogy? The FDA is largely sponsored by Pfizer.
And let's go with the all the news networks. If you go watch Fox News, MSNBC, or any of your favorite, you will see 20 different pharmaceutical ads.
100%.
And it's the same thing. It's like, this weird disease is going to be cured by this pill that you take or this shot that you take. There's no way that they're going to report on the pharmaceutical industry.
Exactly. Well, it's like you said, even about the algorithm, right? It knows what you like and it starts feeding you stuff, but what is it feeding you? That's just the thing. Is it feeding you stuff that you want to read, or is it feeding you stuff that they want you to read?
It's both a little bit, because they got to keep you on there.
Yeah.
But they do filter those things in there. You saw that with the Facebook specifically, where they wiped out, and this is a new thing that most people are unaware of right now. So all social media platforms are doing this. the smaller pages, they take away recommendations. They eliminate them so they can't see it. There's a bunch of people I know, good content creators on Facebook. If they had under 100,000 followers, they lost recommendations. 80% of what you see on social media is what they put in front of you, not who you follow. So we're fortunate to be in a space where we grew big enough to where we have 3 pages that are still recommended on social media. There's maybe 10 hunting pages on Facebook right now that are recommended, and we got 3 of them.
And we just talked about that. We were recommended, and then we weren't, and then we're recommended. Right now, we currently are. And that's the thing I've always struggled with is we'll, for us as a smaller page, for example, comparatively speaking to you guys, we'll have we'll post a reel or something that does 1 million views, and we're sitting at 15,000, followers. How the fuck does that happen? And the next one that's way higher quality and should be way better, it gets 3,000 views.
Yeah, it's what they want you to see. It really is. And it's been like that for a little while. They don't, the social media does not suppress people the way that they used to. So there's this idea that like, oh, you're shadow banned, you're this, you're that. That's not what they do. They've gotten way more clever than that at this point. They just say, well, we're just going to show everybody what we want to see. 80% of your news feed is filled up with the things that they want you to see. 20% are the people you follow. So if they're not recommending you, you cannot grow.
Well, okay, you said shadow ban, but that kind of what you just said is semantic, right? So in that, like we explained the YouTube video, yada, 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 that's really, really good. And bang, 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 bang. Okay, recut it, bang, bang, fucking cut it again. That video should have, every other video that we release, every other podcast in the past, I don't know, call it a year, does 50 to 100,000 views, like instantly. That fucking thing is sitting at, it was 400, then I recut it, then it got like to 500, then I recut it, now it's sitting at 60. How the fuck? So there is something behind the scenes going on, and it's, and whether it's the liberal, and I really attribute it to liberal media and those organizations that want to suppress what we want to say. So, I don't know what the fix is for it, because, we do the best we can. Like I said, I went back and edited everything out that I said about the big guy and the policy, and it fucking still. And I literally, we have a Google rep. We got big enough that we have a Google rep that I can just call. And they will tell me, no, you got to do this, and okay, I'll recut it and do it again. Same fucking thing. Well, it's, we have AI. I'm like, well, fucking manually review it. Here's the transcript. Oh, no, but it's telling me this. I'm like, read the fucking transcript. There's nothing in there that's bad. So they just will not push it out in people's feed, period. And and the problem I get, and I have friends, we post, and they're like, hey, when's your next video coming out? I'm like, we released it 2 weeks ago. I can't even find it.
You can't even find it. Yeah.
You'll search for it and you can't even find it.
Well, you know what happens is that after the big guy was in charge again, he all these guys in charge of the social media platforms told him like, oh yeah, we'll have this review board, all of that. We're gonna do all these things. Yeah, they lied to him. They really did lie to him.
Oh yeah.
You know what it is now, and I don't know about YouTube, but specifically with Facebook, it is. You used to just get a message telling you were screwed. Now you get a person telling you you're screwed. They can't solve any problem. My personal profile, I got 60, 70,000 followers. I was doing really well on there. I lost my recommendations on there. Can't make anything on it. It's not worth my time at all. And when I called, I'm verified. I have a blue check on Facebook. And so I have a rep I can call too. And you just go through the whole process and they just tell you, oh, congratulations, you're screwed. So they lied to him, and maybe he'll find out at some point. Maybe he will. I hope so.
Maybe he'll listen.
He ain't gonna be happy. Yeah, maybe he'll listen. Or one of his kids.
Aaron, I'll start with you this time.
All right.
What do hunting influencers get wrong?
What does Steven get wrong? That's a hard question because I think they know more than they do, because you actually have to read the studies. You actually have to pay attention and actually do the work. I think a lot of hunting influencers don't do the work behind the scenes and just repeat the talking points. There's like so much in the hunting industry that is, you just say what you need to say. and so many influencers. You can just, doesn't matter who you are, and you could just like cut out the name and you just hear the exact same thing from so many different channels that it's the same thing over and over again. There's nothing new coming out of the hunting industry.
No substance. It's rinse and repeat.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you need to hear some new things coming out of it, and that's what we do try and do with our Facebook pages, put out some more interesting, unique, and not rewashed content.
And I'll go back to you, Stephen, on this one. Are hunting influencers creating better hunters or just better consumers?
Oh, better consumers, but definitely, like absolutely. And I mean, I get that, people respond to incentives. And when the incentives are create somebody that's going to just purchase my product, then, I understand. I fully understand why nobody wants me to be their sponsor. I get it. I wouldn't either. Like, yeah, good, fine.
Douchebag.
Not asking for it. But, so when I'm pushing something, small companies reach out to me all the time because, they're not part of the machine that we've talked about throughout this podcast. And they create consumers by saying, hey, I shot this with this bow and look what I did with this food plot and this, mineral. I have people sending me minerals all the time. And then I write a article about, Dr. Deer, James Kroll. I was reading some of his stuff about how some of these minerals are basically poison for deer. Like they're not good. Like it depends, like there's too much of this or that in it. And I just write that. Well, a lot of these companies, like, if you put a bunch of salt in something and put it on the ground, the deer are going to come. And if that's what you want, that's fine. Like I do that too, but it's not necessarily growing big racks. And I think the mineral industry is probably the best example of that. So yeah, they're definitely creating better consumers.
Is social media saving hunting conversations or making them dumber?
I think both, because we get some pretty stupid comments, but then again, on the flip side, we get some really good comments, and so it's a little bit of both because there's some real retards out there, but but we get in some really good conversations with people that are really passionate about hunting and really want to advance the sport and really are involved in hunting to the effect that they want to see it grow better and grow more to the betterment of hunting. So we see a lot of that too. So it's it's like a double-edged sword. You get the people that just want to fight and the comment section's the devil, but you also see the good in it too. There's a lot of good people out there that want hunting to succeed, but there's also, like I said, the other side.
Well, and speaking about the comment section, what's the dumbest repeat comment you see on Rack Junkies?
Oh man, there's a list of these. I could go on. It depends if you're talking about anti-hunters, or you're talking about high fence stuff. High fence stuff. I always hear people saying, they're giving deer steroids. It's like, dude, if you inject a deer with steroids, that's hormones. Like it's going to make their antlers stop growing. Like that's dumb. Anti-hunters. I mean, those are pretty predictable. I think for anybody running this podcast, we get those on repeat. From the hunting industry itself, man, that is a good question.
I know your answer.
What?
Why can't we all just get along?
Oh, you know what? Good point. So people are always saying that to me. Yeah, we got to come together. We got to come together. And that drives me nuts. Like, well, yeah, for sure. We should come together. We need to unite around the right things. That doesn't mean we unite around the National Deer Association wasting hunting dollars. That's a horrible idea. Right. Like, there's a lot of, there's not a lot of nuance in those types of comments. And I think when people just, again, it's the rinse and repeat type of comment that you get all the time. Let's come together. If we're together, we're stronger. Like, yeah, well, there's been a lot of times throughout history that we could think of, back, say in the 40s, where certain countries came together around policies that didn't turn out too well. Mm-hmm. We fought an entire world war over it. So the idea that we should just be united and just obey the government. Well, did you read a history book? Do you know how this country was founded? It wasn't by obeying the government. It was quite frankly the opposite of obeying the government. Go look into it. So yeah, that's the comment that drives me the most crazy for sure.
Yeah.
I can't read. I've been saying this.
So it all started in the 1700s, and the colonists said to Great Britain, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah. We don't like tea. We'll throw it in the harbor.
You bet your ass that is a reel. That's probably going to be one of the first that I'm going to cut right there. That was a great follow-up. Murray, well done with the follow-up, by the way.
I'm a big history buff.
I have a history degree.
Right? That's what they said.
13th to 16th grade.
Only a bachelor.
All right. One thing I want to do, I want you to, in this next section, let's talk about, and I know it's getting late and I apologize, but there's just so much good shit here. Let's talk about Delong lures for a minute, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
In talking about that a little bit, how did you how'd you end up owning the company, and what is the history behind Delong lures?
So the history behind Delong lures is
let's start out with how we owned it, because my brother's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, our old business partner Brandon. Yeah, shout out Brandon. Yeah, he's like he's like the smartest dumb cousin I have.
My brother.
On an IQ level, he's brilliant, but like just totally dumb. He always got me in so much trouble growing up. I was the best man in his wedding. Okay, I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just saying he got me in a lot of trouble, and that's how Delong lures started. How we got into it. He called me up one day and was just like, we weren't making money on social media. We were kind of letting it go because after 2020, you couldn't really run blogs anymore. And he's like, "Hey man, do you want to buy a fishing lure company?" And I'm like, "No, of course I don't. What are you even talking about? Like, I have a great job. I'm rising through management. Everything in my life is going great. Why would I buy a fishing lure company?" And so then the next day he calls me back. He's like, "Okay, remember those lures we used back in high school that we caught all those fish on?" He's like, "That twin tail and that 6-inch weedless worm that we used all the time." I was like, "Yeah, I remember those." He's like, "That's the company." Like, I still don't care. Like, stop. And again, the smartest dumb person I know, he's like, calls me the next day. He's like, "This was the company that invented the rubber worm. Delong lures, the guy who invented the rubber worm, this is him." And I was like, that's a little more interesting. I was like, "How much is it?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "You didn't even bother to look into what this, is it $1 million? Because we don't have that. I don't know what to tell you."
That's what happens when you skip A and go all the way to fucking Z.
That's his entire life. That's his entire life.
My brother.
This will work itself out.
So it did work itself out in the end, because it eventually got a little interesting. So I called the old owner, Ed, great guy, and I go, "Wait a second. How much is this?" And the price he gave me on the business, I looked at all of the molds he had, and I was like, "Man, if I completely screw this up and I completely fail at this business, I will make money by selling this company off. So there's nothing for me to lose here." And so we drove out to Indiana, bought the company. We talked with him. We have all of these catalogs from every decade. Right, the rubber worm was started in 1946 is when he invented it. Nick Cream was actually his neighbor. Who people know, Cream Lures, that was his neighbor. And Cream started in 49. Delong was in 46. I have the original prototype of the rubber worm, which isn't a straight rubber worm. It's actually segmented, which is our bass, which we still have make a lure like that. And it's a lot of pre-rig stuff. We do musky baits. It's stuff for everything. And when we went down to buy it, I realized I couldn't fail, because if I did, I'd make money. And we bought the business, brought it back here to Ohio. And that was 4 years ago. And we've kind of used the social media thing to promote ourselves. And kind of to what we were talking about earlier with all the sponsors, I own my own business. So everybody that knows me on Facebook sees Steven Ziegler, outdoor writer, owner, Delong Lures. Well, I get a bunch of free ad impressions. Don't tell Facebook. On my own business. And it's made people find it. And our sales are through the roof. I mean, we've got new baits out. We get to be creative with the fishing lure side as much as the hunting side now. We get to make new baits. We get to write fishing content. And we it just kind of worked out perfectly for us. And I mean, now we own one of the coolest businesses that I can think of in the outdoor industry. The guy who invented the rubber worm, we own that. That's just crazy.
Because it all hit at the perfect time. You were ready to leave your factory job because you hated it. And I was getting ready to leave the military because I got blown up and I was going to be medically retired. So
Hated it.
yeah, I hated almost dying.
I just want to hear about this Cream guy that lived next door. Like, did they like battle it out? I mean, how'd this happen? Was Cream like at the at a barbecue and like, oh, you're making lures? Huh?
Apparently they were friends. Like they were friends. That's kind of what it was. Like they were friends. Delong started, and Delong was like a really innovative guy. Obviously, he had like a couple of different inventions he came up with. I've got like probably 15,000 molds at my shop that I don't even use. Oh, I think they're full aluminum molds. I don't even use them.
Wow.
And those are the ones we don't use. They're still stored at my
we
mom's
have
house.
a third of his molds in production and 2/3 just sitting on the side, not in production.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and that's worth a lot of money. So DeLong was like DeLong was a good innovator. Cream was like a brilliant marketer. Right. So he was the one who popularized it by getting pro staff and some of those famous bass anglers back in the day.
And he moved to Texas, which was like the bass capital of the world back in the 50s.
Well, they thought so.
They thought so. Yeah. Yeah, I know. We're in Florida now, so that's, they might have an argument there. But,
well, not just Florida. I mean, you are literally sitting in the bass capital of the world right here.
Yeah, by Okeechobee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okeechobee Ocean's right over there.
We drove past on our way in. In fact, we're going on Tuesday to the Everglades. Our 16-inch snake, all the tournament guys down there use it, like in the Everglades. And I mean, we sell 10, 20,000 of them to South Florida every year, just because like everybody knows you can catch big bass on those 16-inch snakes. I mean, it's the Everglades. They're snakes, and they bite
we use
them.
a high-density plastic so it doesn't fall apart when you rip it through the Phragmites.
Oh, that's one important thing. We hand pour these lures. Like they're individual, and it's not just like the liquid injection stuff.
I did it when I was a kid. What was the name of the
Creepy Crawlers?
No, what was the name of the catalog? There was a
Everybody
catalog.
says Creepy Crawlers.
No. There was a catalog because I'm a saltwater guy, so we used to use Mann's jelly worms.
Oh, yeah.
For weak fish, which is sea trout, northern sea trout, great trout. And so me and my buddies, we just decided we made plaster Paris molds, and I can't remember the name of the catalog. You could buy everything, mudhole tackle, I think it was. Anyway, you could buy everything, the plastic and everything. And oh my God, I made a huge mess. My mother was furious, but we made these lures, it was cool. Like say, I caught that fish on my lure, Mm-hmm. I was big into the glowing ones. I made all these glowing ones.
Oh, my son's favorite color is glow in the dark because he got a 5.5 pound bass on a glow in the dark worm that he made himself. And for years, he was like 4 when he did it. And okay, again, we're in Florida. We're in Ohio. 5.5 pounds is like a 10 pounder.
Yeah.
So I've got a good buddy, a boat captain that started making marlin lures, and some of his lures, which Andy Moyes, shout out Moyes lures. Some of his lures are like $250, $280 a piece. But the blue marlins, I don't know if they love them or hate them because they beat the tar out of them. I mean, when they're done, it looks like someone took a rasp to them, But
either way, they catch fish.
Oh
right?
my gosh, it's unbelievable, And that's so cool.
We went from CWD to bass fishing to marlin fishing in like 37 seconds.
Yeah.
To my mom being pissed.
Yeah. All right. Well, and that leads me to the next one. So, because we bash the industry a little bit, are fishing people less insane than hunting people, or just insane in a different costume?
No, we're perfectly adjusted.
They are insane in a different way. Because if you've ever gone to a Musky show, those guys are insane. I know that you guys don't have Musky down here in Florida, but if you go to Ohio, Minnesota, Wisconsin,
fish of 1,000 casts,
fish of 1,000 casts, those guys are the most insane fishermen I have ever met. We were at the Chicago Muskie show, and there's a booth like 3 booths down for us that were selling this high-end muskie lures. They had a line to go buy thousands of dollars worth of these muskie lures, and guys had armfuls of these lures.
No
This guy
kidding.
sold out.
It just went hours. Every time he goes to a show, it's like everybody lines up. They funnel right to his booth. He sells out and goes home. Yeah. And they're hand painted like crankbaits and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's insane.
And they're like $200 a piece. Like they're crazy.
They're insane. Yeah. Muskie guys. I've never met a fisherman that are insane as muskie guys.
I'm going to say this though. I think that the hunting industry is crazier than the fishing industry.
They might be.
Because the vast majority of people who fish are just like everyday people. That
that's true.
Just buy a rubber worm and go fishing.
Right.
The majority. There's some of the pro anglers. That side of things gets a little crazy.
The high end guys. But then again, the high end hunting guys.
But I'm saying, in order to go hunting, like. Yeah, I guess you could just go sit on a fence post, but there's a lot of investment to go hunting. Yeah.
There's more
so than fishing.
Well, and I'll go a little different route in that. So what I've seen over the past several years with you, bill fishermen are a different kind of fucking stupid.
Thank you.
That might be the musky fisherman of Florida. The bill fisherman.
You fucking people.
What do you mean, you people?
Are fucking rabid. If it comes to a billfish, and I don't give a shit what kind of billfish, you are on another level. You've seen it. You get him on a fucking boat chasing billfish, that's a different fucking person. 100%.
Like Dr. Dre said, turn me back into the old me. I'll get on a plane tomorrow morning and go be that old me again next week.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the Abacos in the Bahamas. For another marlin tournament.
All right. What's the biggest mistake small outdoor brands make?
They try to just do what the industry wants them to do to get the sponsorships, to get a couple of little coupons for stuff instead of just saying what's real and being real and making real content. That's a really easy one for me. Just go out, like, have an opinion, like, and don't be afraid to be wrong. Like, that's the thing with us is the way we got to where we're at is by starting pages, having opinions, being wrong, learning. You get things wrong, you learn some stuff, you get better. Continual improvement. That's what my dad always said to me growing up. I had a really great boss that I worked for at one time that would always just say, hey, continual improvement. You know, I'd mess up, he said continual improvement. And that's something that we live by with our business is continual improvement. And you can't be afraid to take chances. You can't be afraid to be wrong. And you can't just go out and do the same exact thing over and over. But the other side to that is you're not going to necessarily get the sponsors. But if you want to be big, you want to have a voice, you want to have an opinion, you want people to listen to you, you have to be honest. You have to be real. You have to be, again, not afraid to take chances, not afraid to be wrong, and admit when you're wrong. I admit when I'm wrong all the time. I got something wrong about koi dogs back in January. I did this whole post like, look at this koi dog. And then somebody called me up and they're like, dude, koi dogs aren't what you think they are. And I mean, I was sending in peer-reviewed studies telling him he was stupid, all this kind of stuff. Eventually I realized I was wrong. And I spent the next month I probably got 40, 50 million views on me being wrong. So have an opinion, do your research, and if you're wrong, admit it. And don't be afraid to just don't follow the industry standards. It's 2026. You don't do that anymore. That's not how people are going to listen to you. Because nobody trusts the establishment anymore, whether it's in any industry, whether it's the government, whether it's the hunting industry. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. They don't trust the establishment, and rightfully so. It's just rinse and repeat there. That's why people, I think, listen to us.
And have fun while you're doing it, because people know when you're having fun because it's genuine. Be genuine with people and have fun, because I have fun doing this. I have fun.
I don't think you could be successful if you weren't having fun.
Exactly.
To go back to the whole bill fishing thing, we were saying at the last tournament, a happy boat catches fish. We're playing music. We're having a good time. I mean, there's other boats I've been on where everything is just stoic, and it's like, this is sucking the fun out of this.
Yeah, we got to catch fish.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. If you have fun and smile and be happy about it.
That's a great point. We have a lot of fun. We're at the shop just saying the dumbest things to each other, like brainstorming and going
some of the stuff we say wouldn't even make it on this podcast.
Right? Yeah, part of this podcast. It was fun, though. We had fun, didn't we?
Wait. Retarded. I said it again.
It's probably worse than that.
I don't know if I have enough censorship beeps to add to this thing. Like, we're definitely getting banned after this. Fuck it. You got to have strong shoulders. So. That was a great segment, by the way. That was fucking spot on. Everybody, except Oscar, you didn't really contribute there.
I saw a little.
Here, say something.
The lid was on.
I'm retarded.
Wow. And my next question is very similar to that. I just asked you the mistake question, right, that the brands make. With that said, and I think you already answered this. Yeah, you did. So I'm going to go on. Let's go to rapid fire. So these questions do not require a long response. It's whatever the fuck comes out right now. All right.
Oh.
Yep. All right. So we'll go back and forth. We'll start with Steven. The most viral Rack Junkies topic ever.
CWD.
Topic that gets the angriest comments.
Feral cats.
We could do a whole podcast on that, but that would get you big.
We need to do this some other time because I just perked up.
Our biggest, I shit you not, TikTok reel we ever posted was talking about a feral cat season.
Yes.
Shit you not.
Yes. He and I talked about shooting cats, and it went berserk.
I just did a probably 7 or 8 series on feral cats and how trap, neuter, release is the worst program ever known to man, and that we should be trap, neuter, euthanize, and not returned.
Well, why neuter them if you knew euthanize them? You just want to get back at them a little.
Yeah, maybe, but it should be trap and
It's my way of sticking it back to the man.
And maybe trap. Adopt, which I'm fine with, just not return to the environment. And Australia, as much problems as they have over there, that is one thing they've got right.
Well, like I said, what we were talking about, a school project to go shoot feral cats.
Have you seen the guy on Christmas Island?
No.
This guy, we wrote about him.
Link in the comments.
Yeah, you gotta find this guy. He's been written about in I think National Geographic. This guy has killed probably a couple thousand cats on, I think it's Christmas Island.
Yeah, it's a small place.
Yeah, and trying to wipe the feral cat population off this island. He's got a cat skin hat. He's got a vest made out of cats.
Real pussy hunter, huh?
Yeah, literally. He's got cat. He sells merch. He sells merch out of cat skins. You can buy a cat skin koozie. This guy is single-handedly trying to save the flightless birds of Australia out of his small island by taking out the feral cat population.
Good on.
Oscar, you win.
Yeah.
You win.
I'm trying to keep this a straight face after that comment, but that might be the top comment of the podcast.
Calls his car the pussy wagon. I'm sorry.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry.
Fucking great.
Bongo for the win.
Yes.
But I usually don't get a lot of hate on my page. I get some, but when I got the most hate out of that series.
I was surprised at the correlation of the turtle heart and cat ladies. I didn't know that cat ladies like turtles that much, but now I do.
Oh, everybody loves turtles.
I love turtles. They're delicious.
Oh, they are. Turtle soup is great.
Sea turtles, well, they ruined that. We can't have that.
Yeah, the straws are taking them out.
Listen, one cocaine addicted turtle ruined it for everybody.
I know.
Anyway.
I'm trying to catch up from all that. All right. Topic where agencies are most full of shit.
CWD. Easy. Absolutely easy.
NDA. Misunderstood, compromised, or hiding behind the curtain.
All of them.
I would say compromised, honestly. That would be my opinion on it.
CWD. Disease issue, trust issue, money issue, or all of the above?
All of the above, but mostly a trust issue now. It didn't used to be that way. Now it's a trust issue, but before that it was a money issue for sure.
Dear farmers, scapegoat, problem, solution, or depends on who owns them?
Scapegoat and solution.
I was going to say the same thing.
High fence. Ethics issue, honesty issue, or internet ego issue?
Oh, that's a great question. Man, because I've been on all three of those personally. I used to be completely against it. And then I realized well, why do I care? Kind of like a gay guy. Like he's taken another guy off the market. And now there's less competition for me for a beautiful woman, right? I'm married now, but why do you care? If a guy's high fence hunting, he's not going to be hunting the same deer that I'm hunting. If there's a gay guy, he's not going after the girls that I'm going after. So, why don't you encourage it? I've kind of switched my opinion on this.
That's a fair point.
Right?
I'm with you, man.
Explain, anybody can find my number. Explain to me where I'm wrong. Change my mind, right?
I've got no opinion on that.
I don't know if I can air that.
Maybe not.
It's not for me, but just think about this. If you have two people having an argument and both sides are lucid, right, trying to get to a productive finality and move forward. And, I'm talking about, like two gay guys having an argument. Think about that. Both sides, there's not a, never mind.
I don't know where you're going.
I didn't either.
That's That's a pole to pole or hole to hole,
Sack
not
to
pole
sack.
to hole. Right. Biggest lie in the biggest lie in whitetail hunting.
I thought he was bigger. That's just the biggest lie for every guy.
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was bigger. That's a good point.
Ground shrinkage.
Yeah. It's actually bigger than it looks.
You said the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, it's
I don't
more
know.
inches than you think it is. It's
cold. Really athletic.
That might be it. Man, rapid fire's fun, huh?
This is what rapid fire should be every time.
He can't even
I'm
talk.
trying to hold it together. The biggest problem in hunting media.
Honesty and just going along with the industry, I would say, as opposed to being honest about it and really diving into some of the controversial topics. We can't hide from what hunting is. If people don't realize what it is, then when the other side presents it to them, they're going to look at it as bad. So I constantly, I don't shy away from posting dead animals online. I think it's good to normalize that to people because
it's what it is.
It is what it is. I mean, that's human. There's a great rant by Ted Nugent on Joe Rogan's podcast where he talks about
it's amazing.
It's one of the best rants about hunting in history, that I've ever heard. And I use it sometimes where he says, if you're a vegan, they had to cut down the forest, they nuked it with chemicals, they churned everything up, they killed all the animals so you can have a tofu salad. Shut up. Stop talking to me about being a vegan.
You know that got used on Yellowstone.
Yeah.
They almost word for word, and Ted was like, I think it's great.
Yeah.
And I think that was awesome.
Definitely
Totally
gonna
awesome.
put that up here so everybody can see that.
Oh, you have to. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Dumbest thing hunters argue about.
Crossbows versus compounds.
Yes.
Do it.
Okay. This is my issue too.
This is his
my
issue.
Listen, I
Can we all get along?
I've been very okay. I've been trolling people, and I kind of just recently stopped. I put out a video of me with a vertical crossbow, right? And I was like, hey compound guys, you want to know what's harder than? You want to know how much harder what you do is than what I'm doing? And I just basically just went like this. I just basically moved my arm. I'm like, this is how much harder it is, because I went from a crossbow to a recurve, and all because compound guys just really annoyed me, but who cares? But my real opinion is I don't care. If you're using a crossbow, unless there is an issue with access or not access, opportunity. If you're using crossbows and crossbows are getting so well that there's less hunting season or less tags, well, then we need to pull some things back. If compounds get good enough to do that, then we need to pull some things back. And my little pet issue that I'm going to get legalized in Ohio, atlatls, know it right now. Atlatls are going to be legal in Ohio. I'm dedicating an unreasonable amount of my life to atlatls being legal. Ohio, I'm coming for you. Just know that right now.
What the fuck is an atlatl?
You don't know what an
thrower.
atlatl is? It's a spear thrower.
Yeah.
Oh, a spear chucker.
Yeah. Spear chucker. Yeah.
Spear chucker Jones.
Yeah. Vivek Ramaswamy, who's about to be our next governor,
Yeah.
the vegan who I went after online.
How did we not talk about that yet, by the way? Because you actually got to ask a question and the response was fucking
so stupid.
Yeah.
He's going to have to talk to me. Vivek Ramaswamy is going to have to talk to me if he wants the hunting boat.
All right, let's we got a few to finish out.
Okay.
But
Yep.
we got to talk. We totally missed this. I brushed over it.
Yeah.
You got to talk to what I believe is going to be the future governor of your state of Ohio. Yeah. You got to ask him a question. I thought it was fucking great, but kind of walk us through that and tell us the punchline.
So I asked, so State Rep Heidi Workman, who I've talked about a couple times, she's Portage County, Hole in the Horn Buck area, right? And she has a lot of hunters there. And I was her campaign manager. And so I talked to her beforehand. She's like, I'm going to get you that question. Because she represents a bunch of hunters. And she knows, she goes, listen, she endorsed him. She likes Vivek, but she goes, he also needs to answer this question. So she taps him on the shoulder and she goes, hey, right there, and points at me. And he goes, oh, we'll end on you. And my question to him was, explain to me, you're a Hindu and a vegetarian. Explain to me how you're going to manage our hunting rights. I'm not necessarily worried about you ending hunting. You're not going to be able to. But similar to how Obama did with the Second Amendment, he curtailed the rights through the fourth branch of government. Vivek's great on the fourth branch of government stuff. I've read his books. I've listened to him on podcasts. I actually really like the guy. I think that he's going to be great on economic issues. And my personal belief is that he can be the best governor of Ohio in my lifetime. but I cannot vote for him until I know what he's going to do with hunting and fishing. Right. This is my life. This is what I care about. Obviously, if you've gotten this far in the podcast, you know I care about this stuff. And I asked him that question, and his response, the first thing he says is, we started talking about the Second Amendment. Sounded exactly like Barack Obama, by the way, because he uses his cadence. Once you hear that, you can't unhear it. He's like, we started talking about the Second Amendment. We'll end talking about the Second Amendment. And my immediate thought was like, I asked about hunting. What are you talking about the Second Amendment for? Second Amendment has nothing to do with hunting. Okay, where are you going to answer my question? And then he rambles for 5 minutes about fentanyl, about drug overdoses, mental health, all this stuff, and does not address the hunting issue at all. His campaign manager, Jonathan, hey, buddy, I text him all the time. I've texted him a couple times every time he's getting on a plane, which seems like a coincidence to me. And they talked about talking with me. I put out some posts. I've gotten a couple million views on it. A lot of hunters in Ohio are not willing to vote for that guy. And now that he's won the primary, I think that Vivek is going to reach out. I think I'm going to be able to have a conversation with him, because if he wants support from hunters, he has to answer this question. Hunters need to stand up and say that politicians must earn our vote, because they try to pigeonhole us in with the Second Amendment stuff. And a lot of times it works. And I get it, because the Second Amendment is very important. But we also need to make sure we're holding these guys accountable. And I drilled in on them, and credit to State Rep Workman for getting me that question, even though, it could hurt her politically, because I made him look bad. He will lose votes over those videos I'm putting out, and I'm just getting started. But he has the opportunity anytime to come on and talk to me. It's an open invitation. He knows it. He knows who I am. He knows how to get a hold of me. Their whole campaign knows. But he played the Joe Biden basement strategy for the primary, which I get it. He knew he would win if he just didn't talk. And now it's time for him to come out and talk to hunters and say, if you're a Hindu and you're morally against hunting and fishing, this is his stance. Like his religion is against hunting and fishing. Where do you stand on it? What are you going to do as governor? Who are you going to put in charge? Are you going to put in charge somebody that's going to push these CWD policies? That's going to be one of my questions for him. And when he comes on and talks to me, and I'm betting you that this is going to happen, because I'm going to get harder and harder and harder on him until, that sounded horrible. Yeah, don't say anything. But no, I'm going to go harder and harder on this until he does, or he'll lose votes. Earn the votes. Earn the votes of your constituents. You have a lot of hunters that are going to vote for you and want to vote. I desperately want to vote for Vivek. I like the guy. I love listening to him on podcasts. Dave Smith's podcast, I listen to him on there. It's a very libertarian podcast. Stuff like that. Jordan Peterson. I'm a fan of Vivek. I told State Rep Workman called me before the endorsement and said, hey, they're pushing me to endorse really early. What do you think? I said, go with Vivek. He's great. And then I honestly assumed he would just kind of look at me and say, well, I don't have a fully formed opinion on that, but I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to, you have all these views, you're this huge platform. Yeah, I would love to talk directly to hunters. And the thing that really made me mad recently was, in order to do damage control on this, he went to an SCI event. Again, I'm a member of SCI, so are you. I support SCI. But let's be honest about what SCI is. It's a lot of the rich donor hunters with money. And he spent an entire day to talk to 50 dudes that write him checks, and he won't talk to the average everyday guy like me? No. Now you're definitely not getting my vote. And listen, Amy Acton, who he's running against, it's really tough, because she's a how do you describe her? A less informed, dumber white Kamala Harris? Right? Was that accurate?
Good call.
Yeah, she has no political ideas. She's not intelligent. She's a doctor, but she just doesn't have ideas of what to do. It's just all, I was a poor girl. You should vote for me because I was a poor girl. Like, I don't care. What are you going to do about it? If I wanted to vote for somebody because they have empathy, I'd vote for my mom, not for this lady who shut the whole state. I can't even say that, when she was in charge. So, and listen, I'd talk to Amy Acton too, and I will give any of these politicians my questions. In fact, I insist on giving them my questions in advance, because I want them to have fully formed answers, nothing that's a gotcha. And so to Vivek and Amy Acton, both of them, my questions will be sent to you in advance. We will stick to those questions. I've just got some basic questions about hunting. That's all I care about. Tell me what you're going to do. That's it. It's real simple. Why won't you talk to me? Just like the game agencies don't want to talk to me about the science because it's not backing them up. What are you hiding? That's what I want to know. That's it.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't forget about that topic.
Yeah, that guy. I think he's just hiding right now. It's a smart political move for him to not talk to me till after the primary. So we'll see if he does. If not, then hey, you lost votes because of your own inability to talk to people. I thought he was smarter than that.
Man, how do you come back?
I know, right? I'm just ranting.
Yeah, right.
I get all fired up about that.
Anyway,
so back to the fun stuff. What do you think about compound bows?
And you held back too because you had a.
He had something else this is going to go off the rails quick.
I wasn't going to do that this time.
What's all right? Well, Aaron, we'll go back to you. What's one win hunters need right now?
One win hunters need right now. I don't know. What do you think?
We were talking about this on the way here. There's no conservation wins in the last 20 years for these game agencies.
Yeah.
So I mean, give me a win. Give me anything. Like I mean, let's keep it simple. I mean, hunter recruitment's dropping, pheasants are gone, CWD or grouse are gone, CWD. Losing. I mean, the current administration is actually opened up access. I mean, that's one that we've gotten, but it's not on a state level or through the game agencies. Just give me. I mean. It's not even the point of what is the win that we need right now. It's just get me a win. Anything. Just something small for me to hang my hat on. NCWD policies, maybe. But I don't know. That's a tough question.
What's one question every hunter should ask their wildlife agency?
What are you doing for me? We pretty much covered that in the podcast.
Yeah, it is.
And if you want to review, just rewind the podcast to the beginning and replay to this point, and you'll pretty much get what we said.
Yeah, the next one was an NGO question, but we've already thoroughly covered that. All right, here's a good one. What topic are you guys digging into next?
I'm continuing to dig into state game agencies. I will be doging all of them one by one. The NGOs, I have public records requests out. That takes some time. I've got a list. I just showed you, actually. There's 167 different ideas on my list. Not all of them are great. Some of them suck. I'll go back and I'll look at it. Oh, that was dumb. But for me, most of my time right now is dedicated to reading research on CWD, looking into game agencies and how they're spending money in the NGOs and how that whole system just is kind of a giant circle jerk where they're all just like high-fiving each other and telling each other how they're right and there's no real accountability. So for me, I'm just going to continue on that because I can research and read and write about that for months at a time.
Say mine's a little bit different because I have like five things like up in the air right now. Like I'm doing a series on just weird animals that you can hunt in the U.S. Like, you can hunt peacocks in Hawaii, which is kind of cool. Like there's places you can hunt capybara in Florida and in Texas. And nutria, which is like the second biggest rodent. Done that. Yeah, I haven't done that, and just like other stuff like that. I'm also delving into like deer and car collisions, like all the data behind that. So I do more lighthearted stuff than he does because that's just more my personality, and I'm less controversial and less like it's less stress on me because I don't know. But, that's just a couple of the things that I'm doing series on right now. And then whenever I find, and I do like kind of news of the day, whenever I have a crawler that looks at the news and like what's going on and I write about it. So whatever I find that's going on, like today, I just wrote about the National Park Service and they're firing back at the Department of the Interior who has opened up a bunch of the national parks to hunting, and they're talking about them gutting deer in bathrooms, which is ridiculous and all that. So I started writing on that, and I'm going to probably write a couple more posts on that. So
I actually posted about that bill too. So
I posted on that. I get one more of a kind of a little bit a milquetoast introduction, and then I'm going to get a little bit more controversial in my next couple posts.
So kind of closing it out here. Give me go ahead and plug Rack Junkies and all the other platforms for me.
So on Facebook, you can follow me on Rack Junkies. Obviously, we own Delong lures. That kind of so that we don't have to have sponsors. I don't really want to talk about the fishing stuff too much because I like the hunting stuff, but that is how I avoid sponsorships largely. There's Rack Junkies, the hunting news. But if you want to find the fun stuff, you want to find the things that like we're really talking about right now, Rack Junkies is for me with my writing. We are on YouTube. We are going to I have a podcast. It's the Rack Junkies podcast. It's mostly me just kind of elaborating on things right now. However, since this has gotten so big, there's a lot of people, especially on the political side. I will not sugarcoat this at all. I'm going to have politicians on there, state reps, state senators, federal people. I mean, big names that have asked. So, but like you guys are great at podcasts. I'm not as good at it. You know, I'm good when I have, you know, hopefully I'm good. I mean, I guess people listen to this can determine if I'm not, then they're not listening already. So it doesn't matter. But, you know, like learning how to do that. So there will be a Rack Junkies podcast where I will be doing the majority of it. And then because Aaron has a history degree, he'll like go over the history of whitetail deer and do more of the lighthearted stuff. So follow us on Facebook, Rack Junkies. We're on YouTube. And then the podcast is coming soon. And then Aaron for the Sportsman Party.
I run the Sportsman's Party, which is on Facebook. So Sportsman Party, just search that up. And it's a little bit more lighthearted, but I still get into some controversial issues. And I post some memes sometimes that I make up and just kind of have a little bit of fun, a little bit of controversy with a little bit of fun. Also do a lot of the Delong Lures posts, a lot of the news posts. And like he said with the podcast, I'm going to try and do a news of the week where since I do a news of the day kind of thing with the Sportsman's Party, I'm going to try and pick 3 or 4 of the best news stories and kind of try and sum them up on the podcast once we get that rolling here in the next month or so. So follow me at the Sportsman's Party, see my writing and so far the last few years, if I find it interesting, most people seem to find it interesting. So that's what we'll go with.
Yeah, and we'll definitely link all of your socials in the description. And then so final word. What do you want to say to hunters who are tired of being fed polished bullshit and want straight answers?
Just find people. It's the social media age. Follow. There's Facebook pages out there that don't have recommendations. Small YouTube channels that are really good on this stuff. Obviously, we're big. I hate to say we're the biggest ones here, but we might be like some of the biggest ones that'll just say whatever we want to say and talk about whatever we want to talk about and not just give polished stuff and aren't afraid to be wrong. And again, I don't hide any comments on my page. I don't block anybody except for the spam, the thirst trap girls that come on and like we do block them. But like I don't block people. I believe in open debate. I mean, look at my shirt. Like I'm all about talking to people who disagree. Prove me wrong. Change my mind. I've changed my mind on many issues. So I guess that's kind of the big thing for me is that I'll talk to anybody. I want to talk to people that disagree. It's much more fun for me to talk to somebody who disagrees with me than somebody who's just like, hey, high five. Hey, we all agree. Okay, that's fun at camp and stuff, and we can do all that. But let's talk about the things we disagree about, because if we want to come together as a hunting community, we first have to come together around the same things. And we can't pretend for any longer that the hunting industry as a whole, the machine, is representative of average everyday hunters, because it's not.
Aaron, same question to you.
What was the question again?
What do you want to say to a hunter who is tired of being fed political bullshit and wants straight answers?
I would say, look up like-minded hunters and, I want to say influencers because I don't like that word, but
fucking hate it too.
Yeah, that's like find people that you agree with and find people that are going to give you the straight answers and that are actually looking for truth, because, truth is hard to find. And at least find the people that are looking and find the people that you feel that are at least trying to be honest, because it's hard. I understand that, because like all these conversations with CWD, with the game agencies, like I grew up wanting to, trusting the game agencies, wanting to believe them, and like those were like the good guys, and I still want to believe that, but the more and more I